Here this evening at the Russian Grand Prix. My name's Matt. I'm back in the commentary box again for you this evening, and I think I am on my own as well. You join me here at the Russian Grand Prix, like I said. Great track here in Sochi Autodrome, and I believe we have a full grid as well, which is also good. A few little driver changes just to quickly run through with you here this evening before Q1 starts. We have no Gary Braddon, unfortunately, in Ferrari. He's been replaced by a newcomer to the Talk of the Devil League. His name is Sam. In the Red Bull this evening, we have no Gregor, and he's been replaced by another newcomer making his debut. That's Jack. In McLaren, we don't have Panagiotis. We have Jamie Keats. So the admin here always like to keep the commentator on his toes. I've got two Jamies in two McLarens, so I've got Rubbernecker and Jamie in the two McLarens. We've also got no Jimmy in the Haas. We've got another newcomer here, Andy. Kyle isn't racing for Alfa Romeo this evening. We've got Arthur. In Toro Rosso, we don't have Luke. We've got Neil. And in Williams, we no longer have Ross. In the Williams, we've got another Anthony as well. So I hope that was all clear for you. And so 3 parts of qualifying. We lose the bottom 5 from this first part. So who's going to be the first one to venture out of the pit lane? 18-minute sessions. They've got a little bit of time. All be perfecting their setups right now, making sure they're absolutely right. And it's a completely dry weather forecast as well. So no rain. We had rain in the previous race affecting it. Of course, the brilliant race at Singapore, it affected qualifying. And right at the end of the race as well, really made it exciting. But we're waiting now for the drivers to leave the pits. We've got a few cars out. We've got, this is Anthony in the Williams, making his debut from X1. He normally races on a Sunday, so he'll be delighted to be here. We've got Jamie Keats in the second of the McLarens, and Fraser McKenzie also making his debut in Talk of the Devil this evening in the Williams. He is usually the commentator. He has been racing in X2 this season as well. Had a couple of points finishes, but here he is this evening making his debut in the main Talk of the Devil League in the Williams. Let's see, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. As here is one of the newcomers. This is, if I can find where this is, Andy in the Haas. So he is one of the newcomers. We've got a few cars venturing out of the pits. Out of all of them on the track so far, everyone's gone out on soft tyres, apart from the Alfa Romeo of Arthur, the newcomer. Let's have a look if we can find him. Here he is. He's the first one to start a lap as well, and he is on a set of the medium tyres. So far, everyone else on the soft tyres. But Fraser McKenzie, from what I can see, looks like he's actually running a set of hard tyres. That's a very, very brave decision. He must be very confident of his pace if he's going to go out on that set of hard tyres. And also Anthony Waddington in the Toro Rosso, going for a set of mediums, it looks like, as well. So here is the Alfa Romeo of Arthur, coming through these very fast 4th, 5th gear corners in the middle of the racetrack here. Very flat racetrack, very little elevation change. It's only a few metres, and that's only at the chicane near the end of the lap as well. So it's not a lot of elevation around here. Not a hilly track at all, very flat. Of course, this racetrack came onto the calendar in 2014, and it's a road in between all the Winter Olympic venues that were used for the Sochi Olympics back then. Oh, and that's a little bit wide there coming out of the chicane. It's a tricky corner to get right. It opens out on the exit through this second chicane, down the short back straight into the last 2 corners. About 4 to get 80 miles an hour. Had a little bit of oversteering in that off-track moment there. Let's see what the opening lap time is, and it's a disallowed lap. Also, talking to the gentleman this evening, he's trialling strict corner cutting, following the lead of the Extremes 1 and 2 leagues. So that's going to be an interesting problem for the drivers this evening, to see how they cope with the strict corner cutting on. Let's find another driver on lap. This is Joe Newman in the Racing Point. Actually, he looks like he's giving up on this lap. Slowed right down. He's got an Alfa Romeo right ahead of him of Gareth Lambourne on an out lap. Joe getting nicely out of the way of one of the Ferraris there. I think that was Callum on his first quick lap into the last 2 corners. So I think Callum is going to be the first one to post a lap time 5 minutes into this session, and he does. 1:33.6. A good opening lap from Callum. As the Haas of Andy goes into second place, just under a second slower. That's a good lap time there from the Haas. As Sam instantly goes quicker than Callum. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Callum dominated last year's championship, second in this year so far, and he's been beaten by his rookie teammate in the first qualifying lap. 1:33.3. That will annoy Callum. I know he likes to beat his teammates. As Jorge goes up to 4th in the Renault, and Jack in the Red Bull goes 5th. So they're the only 5 drivers to set a lap time. Here is the Williams crossing the line, and he goes up to 3rd. 1:34.6 for Anthony. Good lap time from the Williams there, quicker than the Haas, quicker than the Renault. So he will be pleased with that. Here is Jamie Keats in the McLaren coming through to complete his lap, as Michael Booker goes up to 6 in the Racing Point. Let's see how this McLaren goes into the last corner. Took a lot of curb there. Don't know, maybe this lap will be disallowed. It's not. It's up to 3rd. That's an excellent lap time. 1:34.2. Just under a second slower than the Ferrari of Sam. So he'll be very pleased with that. Here is Rubbernecker coming through his teammate. He's just started his lap. This is turn 4. About 85 miles an hour. A little flick through turn 5, absolutely flat. Then down into turn 6, a lot of curb on the outside, and he just narrows the angle for that corner. But 110 miles an hour through that apex corner is actually counted as 2 corners then slow down a little bit here with this right hander. 85 miles an hour on the apex. And then this long sweeping back straight. Not really a straight, got 2 long corners in there. The second DRS zone, well over 200 miles an hour. Tricky braking zone, you're turning left and having to brake and immediately go right for this tricky chicane which opens out on the exit. Don't get on the power too early, it's easy to lose the back end in there. Into the second chicane, over the very slight crest. Out towards the wall, which comes to meet you on the exit there. Then the last 2 corners. And let's see how Rubbernecker can go. Had a good World Championship so far. And he goes quicker than his teammate up into 3rd place. On a 1:33.853. Excellent lap time from him. Still waiting for a few drivers to leave the pit lane. This is Phil in the Haas. Drove for Renault last season. And missed a lot of this season so far, but he is now back as a reserve driver, and he's driving for Haas this weekend. So he's now coming through these fast corners in the middle of the track, as Gareth has gone 11th. Joe Newman's gone up to 6th in the Racing Point, so good lap time from him. The Racing Points have shown some good pace in the last few races. Some regular, consistent point scoring finishes from them both, which will very much please them and their manager. Neil is still in the pits in the Toro Rosso, as is the Mercedes of Stephen. Dean has just gone out, as has Fraser McKenzie. He has gone back onto a set of soft tyres. So how will Fraser McKenzie do on his debut? Dan is also on a lap in the Renault. We were just watching Phil complete his lap into the last 2 corners. Nicely hit the apex. That does look like it's turning well. Got a good setup on it here as he crosses the line to go 12th. Fraction slower than Gareth. We've got the Alfa Romeo of Arthur just starting his second lap. We saw him have a disallowed lap last time around. Let's see if I can find Fraser McKenzie. Here he is coming through toward the end of his out lap. This is Dan in the Renault, completing his first flying lap. So the whole field on the soft tyres. Interestingly, Jamie Keats has gone on and done quite a few laps there as Dan goes up to 13th. 1:36.5. We're still waiting for 6 drivers to set a lap time. We're still waiting for 2 of them to leave the pit. So we've got Devon, Fraser McKenzie, Dean Harrison and Arthur all out on track. The World Championship leader, Stephen Harrison, is still in the pits, as is Neil in the Toro Rosso. So those two leaving it late. We've got 8 minutes to go of this session. Here is Fraser McKenzie through turn 1, down towards turn 2. Let's see how that Williams is handling. Not too bad. A little bit slow on the apex there in turn 2. The long flat out turn 3 up to about 190 miles an hour by the exit. Swing it over to the left hand side. Ooh, a little bit of overset there. Nearly steered it into the wall there, did Fraser. As he comes through turn 5. Turn 6 is absolutely flat. And turn 7 immediately follows. Little bit narrow entry there. He could have gone a little bit wider. Had a quicker apex. Then these 2 corners. Just seems to be struggling here a little bit, does Fraser, to get the car up to speed. Certainly there's a lot more margin. There's a lot more speed to be found there in that Williams. He's not right on the limit yet. Let's see how he does in this final sector. Absolutely flat. A little bit slower in a straight line. We saw the Ferraris well over 200 miles an hour there. So Fraser struggling to hit 190. So I think he has abandoned his lap as well, because it looks like his ERS is off. So maybe that's why he's a little bit slower in a straight line. Maybe had his lap time disallowed. Let's see if I can find him. Is he coming in? No, he's not. But lucky he was coming in there. Here is Devon in the Red Bull. The other Red Bull at the moment is currently slowest of the drivers who have set a lap time. Here is Devon coming through to complete his first flying lap. See how he does. Certainly looking to get into the top 10, and he goes 9th on a 35.0. So not a bad lap time there from Devon. Trying to find Dino now. Here he is. Brilliant race last time out in Singapore. Finished second. Had a great fight with Callum through the race. Callum defended brilliantly. Dean had a couple of spins but kept coming back at him. And finally was rewarded right at the end of the race on a brand new fresh set of tyres, whereas Callum was on 50 lap old hard tyres, if you remember. But a brilliant Mercedes 1-2 last time out to massively extend their championship lead. Now on the power nice and early there in that first chicane. Over the curb. It's very difficult there. Really understeers in the first part of that chicane. Down to the last 2 corners. Just missing the pit exit. Entrance, sorry. Into the final corner. And Dino goes fastest on 33.1. So that's a marker put down right away there by Dean. Here is his teammate, World Championship leader at the moment. Extended that with a brilliant win in Singapore. Was on the pace straight away there. And was utterly dominant throughout the race despite Callum's best efforts. Overtook Callum 3 times in that race, if you remember. And that's it's not an easy thing to do to pass Callum once, let alone 3 times. So very, very good drive from him last time out. One of the 2 drivers remaining to set a lap time. Neil is the other one who's currently on his out lap. Fraser McKenzie has set a lap time. Unfortunately for him, he is slowest of the runners on a 36.6. As here comes Stephen to go 5th on a 33.8. Quite a bit slower than his teammate, but he won't mind too much at this stage. The objective of Q1 is just to get through the top 15. So current order: Dean fastest, Sam second for Ferrari, Callum third, Jamie Keats fourth in the first of the McLarens, and we've got Stephen Harrison fifth, Rubbernecker in sixth. Arthur, unseen by me, has actually put a very good lap time in together in the Alfa Romeo to go seventh, less than a second off the pace as well. We've got Anthony in ninth, and Waddington in Anthony in 8th in the Williams, and Waddington in 9th, Joe Newman 10th for Racing Point. Jorge, here he is on a lap at the moment, coming into the pits. He's in 11th place for Renault. We have Andy 12th for Haas, Devon 13th for Red Bull, Michael Booker 14th. It's Gareth Lambourne at the moment on the bubble in the Alfa Romeo. He's the last driver through at the moment. Phil 6th in the Haas, he's out doing another lap as we speak. Dan is just on an out lap as well in the Renault, he's 17th. 18th is Jack, and the second in the Red Bulls. Fraser McKenzie is currently slowest. Neil still yet to set a lap time. Here he is on his flying lap now. Let's see what Phil can do. He's coming through to complete his lap. He's 0.8 of a second up at the moment, which would lift him to, as it stands, up to 13th. So he'll certainly be looking to hold on to that one if he can. He's finally said a bit of oversteer in the first part of the chicane, but it did give him a nice exit. So he may have just clawed back a little bit of time there. A nice clear exit. Down into the last corner comes Phil, and he crosses the line to go 14th. So 35.1 from him. Remains to be seen if that's enough, and it does knock Gareth out. That puts Michael Booker right on the edge. Gareth's gone out on the same set of soft tyres, so he obviously feels like he can improve yet. Let's see what Neil's doing. Here he comes into the second chicane toward the end of the lap. Back out toward the last two corners. Lap time at the moment to get through is a 1:35.676 from Michael Booker. That will be the minimum target here for Neil. And he goes 13th on a 34.8. So good lap time from him. Half a second off his teammate Ant Waddington. So good effort there from Neil. Here is Dan in the Renault. What is he doing? He's 0.8 up as well, but he needs to find just over a second to get himself through, about a second and a half to get himself through. So he needs to find a little bit of pace here in this Renault, which is down on power, because with these two long straights, it's a difficult racetrack here for Renault. Let's see how he gets on. A little bit of a toe from the Red Bull in front of him. Hopefully that won't get in his way too much as Dan crosses the line, and he does move up a place. He finds 3/4 of a second, but it keeps him in the bottom five. Bottom five at the moment is Michael Booker, who's managed to get back out on track. Dan, Gareth Lambourne is on a lap, as is Jack in the Red Bull. Fraser McKenzie is not going to get through. He is currently in the pits and he's slowest, so it's guaranteed Fraser McKenzie will start back of the grid in the Williams. There's always going to be a tall order for him in that Williams. Not the quickest car on the track, but I think he would have been hoping for a little bit more than that from it. So unlucky there for Fraser. Oh, and that's Michael Booker off at the first chicane. Luckily for him, that is his out lap, so testing the limits there on his out lap. Phil's also started the lap. Dan's on his in lap, so he's not going to get through either. Here is Gareth coming through toward the end of the second sector. Let's see if he's on an improved lap. He's currently 18th. Session is now over. And Gareth is off the pace as well, so I don't think Gareth's going to get through. This is Jack in the Red Bull, who will definitely look to get that Red Bull out of the bottom five. He's 19th at the moment. So unfortunately, I think none of the bottom five. Michael Booker didn't manage to get around to start a lap on time. Not sure if maybe that little off we saw him having did damage the car. And Jack doesn't improve. Jack starts on the back row of the grid to give Fraser a bit of company. Gareth has pitted, so he will start in 18th position. And Dan has also pitted, so he will start 17th and 16th. For definite is Michael Booker in the Racing Point. He'll be disappointed with that. He's shown some good pace in the last few races. Oh, and that's the Haas off. He's lost half his front wing. That's Phil. Spun, I think that's the second chicane toward the end of the lap, I believe. Yes, it is. So Phil, luckily he is through. So I'm not quite sure why he's completing the lap. He should have just dived in the pits there. But Phil spun on his lap. Luckily for him, he did make it through. So now we have our bottom 5. Hopefully we will soon get Q2 underway. But very quickly the order. Dean fastest in the Mercedes. Sam second for Ferrari. Excellent first lap from him. Callum third. Jamie Keats fourth. Stephen fifth. Rubbernecker sixth. Excellent lap there from Arthur in the Alfa Romeo to put it 7th. Let's see if he can keep that going for Q2. Anthony in the Williams. I'm saying that very carefully because we've got an Anthony and an Anthony in the league tonight. We've got Anthony in the Williams 8th. Ant Waddington 9th for Toro Rosso. Joe Newman was 10th. Horgate 11th. 12th place for Andy in the Haas. 13th for Neil. 14th for Devon, just making it through. And the last car to make it through, it was Phil in the second Haas. And just to confirm, the 5 cars out in Q1, Michael Booker in the Racing Point, Dan in the Renault, Gareth Lambourne in the Alfa Romeo, Jack in the second Red Bull, and Fraser McKenzie in the Williams will start at the back. So into Q2. "15 minutes here. Thing to remember here in Q2. The drivers who qualify for Q3, whatever tyres they set their fastest lap on in Q2, they are the tyres they will start the race on. Top 10 only progress to Q3. A couple of cars leaving. Got Mercedes going out, and Horgay looks like he's having some technical issues. He's at the session, but they're all streaming out of the pits already. 15-minute session. We saw them all in the pits for a few minutes in the last session. This time they're all racing out of the pits. Anthony in the Williams, interestingly, out on the medium tyres, as is Callum in the Ferrari. We've also got Ant Waddington out. We've got Jamie Keats out. One of the Mercedes is out very early. That's Dean. And Jorge looks like he's back, which is good. Also, we've got Arthur out in the Alfa Romeo and Phil in the Haas, also out on track. And the Haas of Andy looks like he's also going for us. No, he has gone back to a set of softs. No, he has gone to a set of mediums. So that's an interesting one there from the Haas. He's obviously feeling confident with his pace. So let's see how he gets on with that one. But the first car to set a lap time here will be Ant Waddington. He's just coming through into Sector 3 now. He's so consistent this season, both with Williams, now with Toro Rosso. A lot of drivers tipping him to maybe get a top seat next season and then look out for the World Championship. He's dominating the World Championship currently in Extreme 1. No one can get near him. Warming up the tyres there on the run down to the last 2 corners. Let's see how he goes as he crosses the line to start his first flying lap in Q2. We'll try and ride on board again so we can see the racetrack. Here we go, this is long turn 1. Absolutely flat out. Main DRS zone here, up to 210 miles an hour, braking hard for the chicane of turn 2. 75 miles an hour on the apex, and immediately on the throttle. Long flat out turn 3. Look at the speed building up here, up to about 190 miles an hour by the exit, and immediately into 4. Swing it over to the left, and the right-hander turn 4, about 100 miles an hour on the apex. Short back straight, down to turn 5. Brake down to 4th gear, 80 miles an hour here. Turn 6, absolutely flat. Then flick down a couple of gears to turn 7 at about 95 on the apex in 5th gear. This is turns 8 and 9. 105 miles an hour on the apex, and turn 9, basic acceleration zone. Turn 10, about 85 miles an hour in 4th gear, a little bit wide there on the apex for Ram. And these 2 corners here are turn 11 down this, what is classed as a straight, but it's 2 corners in it, turns 11 and 12. And this is difficult braking zone here for turn 13. You're going left, and you have to brake hard, 65 miles an hour, and 80 miles an hour in the second part. Down to this second chicane, 65 miles an hour in the first part. A little bit wide again up for the second part, but you accelerate hard on the exit. All comes to meet you on the left hand side, down into the last 2 corners. 80 miles an hour for the first in 4th gear, and into the second one about 65 miles an hour, then back on the throttle again, and he goes up to 2nd. Arthur's currently fastest, underlying that pace in the Alfa Romeo, because he's gone even faster than he did in Q1. He's done a 33.6. And Waddington's 2nd, Phil's gone 3rd, and Anthony's gone 4th on those medium tyres, a little way off the pace. Jamie Keats goes 4th immediately. Let's see how Callum's doing on those medium tyres. As Dean goes fastest, first lap time we've seen under 133 to the 132.7. Let's see how Callum gets on these medium tyres. Can he make it through into Q3 on them? It's generally a very low wear track here, so the medium tyres will go a long way. Callum goes up to 3rd on a 34.1, and we saw in Singapore just how well Callum can look after his tyres. So he could be one to watch if he can start on those medium tyres. Here is Andy in the Haas coming through to complete his flying lap also on the medium tyres, and he goes 7th on a 35.5, so it's again a little way off the pace on those tyres. Sam in the other Ferrari beat Callum in Q1. He should beat him in Q2 because Ferraris are going for a split strategy here. Sam's on the soft tyres, and he goes 3rd on a 33.7. It's about half a second off what he did in the first session, but he is enough for 3rd at the moment. Here is Joe Newman in the racing point, about to complete the 2nd sector. Yellow flag in sector 1, possibly just cars moving out of the way. Takes the curve nicely. Slowest corner on the track there as well. And we've got yellow flags all around the track, so I'm not sure if somebody spun or if everyone's trying to get out of the way of everyone else here. Let's have a look. Joe coming through to complete the final 2 corners. And he has abandoned this lap. He's turned everything down to recharge the battery, so must have made a mistake on that lap somewhere. Here is Jorge halfway through the middle sector, so he will be looking to get into the top 10 as quickly as possible. He's got a car in front of him, which is a Ferrari, which is Sam getting out of the way. Got a little bit of a tow for him, so that will help that Renault down the straight, but Sam gets nicely out of the way for him. Accelerating very hard out of that first chicane. Nicely taking the apex. That Renault does seem to be handling well. Noticed a couple of times with him. It was his teammate out in Q1. Let's see what Jorge can do as he crosses the line to go 7th on a 34.6. Fraction slower than Phil in the Haas, so that will please him. Good lap time there from Jorge. Here is Rubbernecker coming through to complete his lap, and he goes up to 2nd. What a lap time there from Rubbernecker to go 2nd in the McLaren. 1:33.5. Quicker than the Ferrari of Sam on the same tyres. So that was an excellent lap time from him. Here is Joe Newman. Can he has kept this lap together. So he's into the last 2 corners now. And he goes 6th. So excellent effort from him as well. 34.2 from Joe Newman. Let's see who else is on a lap. We've got Neil on a lap in the Toro Rosso. A little bit of traffic ahead of him. I hope that doesn't compromise his lap. It's disappeared, the traffic, so that's good. Yes, the McLaren got well out of the way there. That was Jamie Keats. Well done for him on his outlap. Still waiting for Stephen Harrison. He does tend to do this, doesn't he? Waits right to the end of the session before coming out of the pits. Puts himself under pressure a little bit doing that. One mistake, he could be out of qualifying. Let's see how Neil can do here. Had a good race in Singapore and a good race at Monza as well. Scored points in Monza. And in fact, Neil pits. So not... Oh. Tries to pit. I think he's got a bit damage to his front wing. So he almost completely missed the pit entrance there. Devon has also gone onto a set of medium tyres. Could be a struggle for him to get through. We saw him only just getting through Q1 in 14th. So interesting decision for him to go onto these medium tyres. So unless they were sandbagging in Q1, he could struggle here to get through on those medium tyres. Not a bad middle sector though. Let's have a look. Into the second chicane. A little bit of understeer there. That's easy done in that part of the track. Oh, a little bit of oversteer on the exit as he tried to get the power down into the last two corners. As Devon comes round the last corner and crosses the line, and he goes 12th on a 36.0. So I think he might be going on to a set of soft tyres there. Jamie Keats going again. We saw him do this in Q1. He did do 3 or 4 laps on the same set of tyres, and he's 7/10 up on this lap. So this could move him nicely into the top 5 actually here. He's 10th at the moment, the last person through as it stands. We've got 5 minutes of the session to go. Stephen now ventures out of the pits. So the last 5 minutes. Stephen finally comes out. Neil hasn't set a lap time. He has been out but made a mistake. And Jamie goes up to 3rd. So both McLarens putting in excellent lap times there. Rubbernecker 2nd. Jamie Keats 3rd. Less than a 10th between them. So very good pairing there at that McLaren team. Very, very evenly matched. And Neil has immediately gone back out as well. So the 2 cars yet to set a lap time. Stephen Harrison, the World Championship leader, don't forget, winner last time out at Singapore, is out on track, and Neil is out for the 2nd time after a mistake on his time lap last time around. So let's see how these do. Devon is on a slowdown lap. He's the only other car out on track, and Jamie Keats, of course, who's also now on a slowdown lap. So I think this will be a pretty quick turnaround here for Devon. He should come straight back in, put a set of those softs on, and then straight back out again as quickly as possible, as Phil also leaves the pits. He's in 9th place currently in that Haas, as does Jorge, who's 10th. Current top 10, Dean is fastest from Rubbernecker. Jamie Keats is 3rd, his teammate. An excellent lap time as well from Arthur in the Alfa Romeo. He's 4th. The 2 Ferraris are currently 5th and 6th. Joe Newman 7th for Force India. Anthony Waddington 8th for Toro Rosso. Phil 9th in the Haas and Jorge 10th in the Renault. Currently, the 5 cars going out are Andy in the 2nd Haas, Devon in the Red Bull, Anthony in the Williams, and Stephen and Neil still yet to set a lap time. They're both on a lap as we speak. Here comes Stephen. There's Neil just started his lap. So Stephen now coming through. This is turn 6. That Mercedes looks nice. Oh, well, as I say that, he runs very, very wide. Brilliant change of direction in that Mercedes. Really got the nose of the car working very, very well. It's going exactly where he wants it to go. Down in towards the end of the 2nd sector. 2nd DRS zone here as well. It's a good 2nd sector. He's on the soft tyres as well. So his teammate will be the aim. Dean on a 32.7, fastest at the moment. The only car we've seen so far under that 133 barrier. No one else is even close to it at the moment. So it shows the dominance of the Mercedes so far. Stephen comes through the final corner. And he does go fastest, a fraction faster than his teammate, a 132.705, half a tenth quicker than his teammate. So that will see him nicely through. Here comes Neil in the Toro Rosso. He's about 1.5 seconds off of Stephen's pace at the moment. But that should still just get him into the top 10 and be around Callum and Joe Newman, 7th, 8th at the moment. And he had a poor final sector. He goes 12th. He was much quicker than that in the first 2 sectors. So Neil 12th in that Toro Rosso. And Anthony in the Williams has not left the pit, so that means he will be starting 15th. He hasn't got enough time now to get back out on track. So Anthony is 15th. He only did 1 run on the medium tyres, so he clearly wants a more flexible strategy for the race. Let's see who else out there. Here is Jorge. He's a 10.5 up at the moment, which he's 11th. A 10.5 would put him just into the top 10. It's only half a tenth behind Phil. So it could be very close here. Oh, a bit of oversteer through the first part of that chicane. Collected it up nicely. Down to the last 2 corners. Will this see him get into the top 10? Callum's come out on a set of soft tyres, so he clearly doesn't feel safe there in 7th place. And Jorge does go 10th. He improves by just under a tenth, but it's enough to move it into the top 10. If he has enough fuel, he will do another lap here. We've got 30 seconds of qualifying to go. Phil is out again on those medium tyres. That's an interesting strategy from him. And Phil has retired from the session, so he's not going to make it through. Phil in the Haas has retired from the session. This is Andy, and Devon did make it out on a set of soft tyres. He's a third of a second up in the first sector. He needs to find 1.5 seconds, though, to get into the top 10. So let's see if those soft tyres can give him enough grip in the middle sector to find that 1.5 seconds. The session is now over. We've still got a lot of cars. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Callum abandon his lap if he knows he gets safely through. I think Devon has abandoned. Yes, Devon's abandoned this lap, so he is not going to improve. Here is Andy in the Haas. He's a 10th up so far. What does he need to do to improve? He needs to find about a second. It's a 10.5 up in the first sector. How's he going in the middle sector? At the end of this straight, and he's 1/4 of a second up. So he is improving, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Anthony Waddington's gone up to 7th in the Toro Rosso. He's improved by quite a lot. It's so close there in that middle of the top 10. Between 4th and 7th is covered by just over 0.2 of a second. Here's Andy in the Haas coming through to complete his last chance here in Q2. And he goes 9th. He pulls it out of the bag in the last sector. What a result from him. And yes, Callum has abandoned his lap. He knows he can't be knocked out of Q2. We have our bottom 5 here for Q2. In 11th place with Jorge in the Renault. Didn't quite do enough in that Renault at the end of the session. He's just struggling with straight line speed. Phil in the Haas will start 12th. Neil 13th for Toro Rosso. Devon 14th for Red Bull, and Anthony in the Williams will start 15th. But still a good effort from Jorge to get it anywhere near the top 10 with that Renault's lack of power. So he can still be pleased with himself. And from 11th place, of course, he's got free choice on tyres. So we could see him go long. Tyre wear, as I said earlier, is not really an issue around here. The soft tyres last a long time. So do the mediums. Longer than they do at any other racetrack. It's such a low wear surface here. So, order, the top 10 order at the end of Q2. Stephen fastest by a fraction from his teammate. Excellent drive again from Arthur in the Alfa Romeo to be 3rd. Be very pleased with that. The two McLarens very close together as well in 4th and 5th. Sam 6th, Ant Waddington 7th, Callum 8th. He will start on those medium tyres. He abandons his lap on the softs. Andy makes it through the last gasp effort in the Haas in 9th. And Joe Newman 10th for the Racing Point. So a real mix up on the grid here. We've got 2 Mercedes, 2 Ferraris and 2 McLarens. Then we've got a Toro Rosso, an Alfa Romeo, a Haas and a Racing Point. No Red Bulls, no Renaults, no Williams. But 7 teams represented in the top 10 shootout. So here we go into Q3, the top 10 shootout, to see who starts in pole position. They all get given an extra set of tyres for this session as well, so they can go absolutely flat out. 12 minutes, it's enough for 2 runs. And one of the Ferraris immediately coming out, that's Sam, immediately out onto the track. Will be interesting battle here between Sam and Callum. As we've seen so far, Sam faster than Callum in Q1 when they were both on the same tyres, so could be very close between these two. And, with Gary not racing here this weekend, he seems to have found a quick enough replacement for him. Also out early, look out for him, Arthur in the Alfa Romeo. We've hardly seen him so far in the session, but he's done 2 excellent laps. 3rd fastest in Q2. So look out for that Alfa Romeo. Also look out for Andy in the Haas. Haas have had a poor season so far, and he's scored 7 points so far this season. They'll be desperately looking to add to that. They're all starting to come out now. Callum also out, and Joe Newman in the Racing Point. So, and don't forget, this is Arthur's first race with Talk of the Devil, so he's having a very, very impressive debut. The only thing I'll say is he's nicked my race number 69, but that's a fail with that. So Sam about to start his lap. Through the second of the 2 chicanes right at the end of the lap. Such a long pit straight here with the start and finish line very close to the last corner. It's the longest run to a braking zone on the calendar at the start of a race. So look out for some accidents down there into turn 1. So the 2 Ferraris and Joe Newman start their lap. The Alfa Romeo of Arthur's slowed right down, so trying to find himself a little bit of space. That's why we've got the yellow flag in sector 3, unless he's made a mistake out there. And I think he has. He's coming into the pits. Yellow flag was out for a very long time. Yes, look, half his front wing is gone, so a mistake from Arthur. Just as I was singing his praises, the commentator's curse strikes again, and he goes into a wall. Seems to have that effect. I praise the driver up, and then they make a mistake. So, sorry, Arthur. Meanwhile, Sam coming through to complete sector 2. Very, very fascinated to see what happens here between the 2 Ferraris. Will Callum keep his advantage in that team, or will he be outdone by the newcomer? Could we be having a repeat of the Vettel-Leclerc problem we've seen so far in the real F1 this season with the 2 Ferrari drivers? Callum, the experienced racer, Sam, the newbie. But let's have a look. Down into the last 2 corners. Sam will be the first one to post a lap time in Q3. We've got 8 minutes to go. And Sam goes fastest on a 33.4. So about what he did in Q1. fraction slower than what he did in Q1. Let's see what Callum does through the final corner. Oh, a lot of curb, ran wide, but what a lap time. Well, that's a benchmark for his teammate, isn't it? 1.1 seconds faster than Sam. A 1:32.3, comfortably the fastest lap we've seen so far in qualifying from Callum. He'll be very, very pleased with that. Here is Joe Newman coming through the final corner to complete his qualifying lap. He goes third, but he's made a mistake. It's a 1:50. He's 18 seconds off the pace. Andy goes third for Haas. Let's see who else is coming through to complete lap. Here is Jamie Keats in the McLaren. Look out for these two McLarens. They both have brilliant pace. Ant Waddington goes third for Toro Rosso. He could be another dark horse in the race. Jamie Keats crosses the line to also go third. Only a fraction off the Ferrari of Sam. That will please him a lot. Here is Rubbernecker coming through to commit his first final lap. Likewise, Stephen. This time it's Dean who stayed in the pits right to the last minute. And Stephen's come out first. Let's see what lap time he can do. He will be looking at 1:32.3 of Callum. I'm wondering how he did that. Let's see if he can improve on it. He also does the 32.3, but it is a fraction slower as Rubbernecker crosses the line to go third. So quicker than the Ferrari of Sam, but over a second, sorry, exactly a second off of pole position. Those two up front are faster by over a second from anyone else. Absolutely dominating. 1-2 in the championship, and they're the same here in qualifying so far, but the order reversed. Callum ahead of Stephen here. So Dean still in the pits. So he might have used all his tyres up. This is the other driver to set a lap time. We saw Arthur make a mistake on his first run. He's out again. There's 6 minutes to go. He will be looking to get himself up there with the McLarens, who are third and fifth at the moment, sandwiching the second Ferrari of Sam. Let's see what kind of lap time he can do. Been so impressed with his pace so far in this Alfa Romeo, as Dean now finally leaves the pits with 5.5 minutes to go. Through this long turn 3, such a challenge. You want to keep it to the far left as you can, and then flick it right for turn 4. Not a bad first sector. Alfa Romeo is looking brilliantly poised, isn't it? Turning in nicely. I hope he doesn't spin now. I've said that. No, that's fine. And I think this lap's been disallowed. He did take a lot of curb through that corner, and I think this lap time has been disallowed. Yes, he goes off the track to let Dean through, who's on his out lap. So that's unfortunate. He will be conserving as much as he can now, and hope he's got enough fuel to do one more lap. 4.5 minutes to go, so he is running out of time a little bit here. The pressure of Q3 is just getting to him a little bit. 2 mistakes on his first 2 runs here for Arthur. So 4.5 minutes to go. Callum on pole at the moment from Stephen. Rubbernecker third, excellent third in the McLaren. Sam 4th. Jamie Keats 5th in the second McLaren. Ant Waddington 6th for Toro Rosso. 7th, Andy in the Haas. Joe Newman is 8th. And we've got Dino and Arthur. Arthur's come back into the pits again. So he may have to... I think he will have enough time to stick on another set of tyres and try again. But that will be his last effort. Won't have enough time to do any more than that. Joe Newman heading out of the pits again on a slightly worn set of softs. Jamie Keats doing it again. He's on 3 laps on these tyres so far, and he has moved into 3rd place. So excellent lap time. It's an all McLaren row 2 at the moment. But that's very interesting from the race. He's keeping the pace in those tyres as he set that lap time on his 3rd flying lap. So the softs aren't degrading us that much. Let's see how Dean is doing. This will probably be his only run. Comes down, and it's a good middle sector. Very good middle sector from Dean. Can he get himself up there with his teammate and Callum? Stephen needs Dean up there to take points away from Callum to try and sew this championship up as quickly as possible. Nice big lead Stephen's got. But the sooner he can wrap up the championship, the better. So Stephen desperately needs his brother, of course, Dean, to be joining him at the front of the grid. Dean comes around the final corner and he goes fastest. A 1:32.0. Excellent lap time from Dean. He'll be very, very pleased with that. So it's Dean from Callum row 1, Stephen from Jamie Keats row 2, Rubbernecker and Sam row 3 as things stand. Rubbernecker has gone back out again on another set of tyres. Joe Newman, here he is. He's 3 tenths up in the first sector. We saw him with a very slow lap time on his first run. And I think this lap's been disallowed as well. He's turned everything right down. So I think this lap has been disallowed for Joe. Does he have enough fuel to do one more lap? I hope for him he does. Not sure if Ant Waddington or Andy are coming back out again. They're leaving it very late if they are. Here's the Alfa Romeo of Arthur out for another run. And as I say that, Andy is out on track now in the Haas. 8th at the moment. He'll be delighted with that. Anyway, if he can improve on that, that'll be excellent on his debut. And yes, Joe Newman does have enough for another lap. Jamie Keats still going on this set of tyres. Not quite sure where he's finding this pace on 4-lap-old soft tyres, but there we go. So he hasn't got time now to come in and put another set of tyres on, so that's it for him. Let's see how Rubbernecker is doing, his teammate. Just over a 10th slower. So he'll be looking to improve on his teammate. At least he's backed out of this lap. So again, let's see if he has got enough time to do one more lap. There is a car coming down the back straight. Don't know if Rubbernecker's quite seen him. I think it might. Oh, look at these! Look at this little gap here. And Waddington and the 2 Ferraris in very close company there. Callum's got ahead. Are they going to try slipstreaming each other here? As Stephen's retired from the session, not quite sure if he's made an error. I think he has made an error. It's a yellow flag in sector 3. So Stephen is not going to get pole position here. Got 25 seconds to go. I think the 2 Ferraris could be trying to possibly be slipstreaming each other. So we've got Callum not far in front of his teammate to come through the last 2 corners. And look at Ant Waddington there trying to benefit from the toe of the Ferrari as well. So good thinking there from Ant Waddington. The Honda a little bit down on power compared to the Ferrari. So he's using the 2 Ferraris ahead of him to give him a huge double toe. Joe Newman has retired from the session, so he will definitely be starting 10th. He can no longer improve. Arthur got himself into 7th in the Alfa Romeo. Let's see how Ant Waddington's doing. He's a 10th up in the first sector. So he is improving. The 2 Ferraris here do look like they're trying to help each other out. Jamie Keats is a quarter of a second. Now Jamie spins it in the chicane. So that could slow down a few cars. Depends how quickly he gets himself back on track. But that's it for Jamie now as well. Session is now over. So at best he's going to be 4th. Let's see what Rubbernecker can do, his teammate. Can he improve and get ahead of his teammate? Into the final corner. And he does indeed. He goes 4th on a 33.0. Good lap time from Rubbernecker. Now let's have a look at the 2 Ferraris and Ant Waddington. Yes, Callum's not on a lap at all. Here is Sam. A little bit wide in the second to last corner. What can he do? Sam goes 4th. Ant Waddington doesn't improve either. So that is our grid. Callum dives into the pits. It was purely to help his teammate out. Great teamwork there from the 2 Ferraris. There we have our grid. Dean on pole from Callum. Stephen, I think he made some kind of error there in the final part of qualifying. He lines up 3rd. ahead of the second Ferrari of Sam. So it's Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari on the grid. 5th for Rubbernecker in the first of the Ferraris. He's just ahead of his teammate Jamie in the second McLaren. 7th for Arthur in the Alfa Romeo with an excellent lap time. There, and I'll just confirm the last 3 on the grid. In a second. Yes, 8th place for Ant Waddington in the Toro Rosso. An excellent night on his debut for Andy in the Haas, and in 10th place Joe Newman in the Racing Point. Didn't at all set a representative lap time in Q3 there. So now we have a short break. I will be back to introduce the race in a couple of minutes. So welcome everyone to the Russian Grand Prix. Russia, relatively new on the F1 calendar, first joined in 2014. The same year as Sochi also hosted the Winter Olympics, and this track winds its way through a lot of the venues that were used for those Olympics. We've only ever had 3 Russian drivers in Formula 1. Vitaly Petrov, Danny Kvyat and Sergei Sorokin. And they've had 3 podiums between them as well. 1 for Petrov and 2 for Kvyat. Sergei Sorokin was in the Williams, of course, last season. The action zones here to look out for. Well, down into turn 2 at the chicane, especially at the start. Very, very long run down. It's the longest run off the line at the start of the race to a braking zone anywhere in the calendar. So you'll have 20 racing cars there going full pelt down there, so look out for any potential accidents. We've got 2 DRS zones here, one on that long main straight which activates in the middle of turn 1 all the way down to the braking zone of the chicane at turn 2, and then the second DRS zone is on the curving back straight around the back of the circuit. Look out for some late braking moves down into that chicane as well. Of course, Raikkonen and Bottas came to blows here a few years ago down into turn 4. We have seen a lot of drivers being able to hang on around the outside of turn 3, which is absolutely flat. And it very, very fast, lot of G's on the car. 20 drivers here this evening. I'm happy to say we have a full grid. I will run through the grid now for you. On pole position with an excellent lap time there, Dean in the Mercedes takes pole position. Callum second for Ferrari. Stephen third in the second Mercedes, and in 4th place on his debut, the second Ferrari of Sam. The 2 McLarens did a fantastic job in qualifying. They are on row 3. Rubbernecker out qualifying his rookie teammate Jamie Keats. Arthur also an excellent job in the Alfa Romeo to get it into 7th place, just ahead of Ant Waddington in the Toro Rosso. Looking to add more points to his tally here this evening. Andy, 9th for Haas. Excellent result in the Haas, who have struggled to get into Q3 all season. And Joe Newman, 10th for Racing Point. Those cars, of course, will start on the tyres, those top 10 that they completed Q2 in. Everyone else has free choice of tyres being outside the top 10. 11th, Jorge in the Renault. 12th, Phil in the second of the two Haas cars. 13th, Neil in the Toro Rosso. 14th, a long way back, the first Red Bull of Devon. Look out for him coming forward throughout the race. 15th for Anthony in the first of the two Williams cars. Michael Book will be a little bit disappointed. He's 16th on the grid in the Racing Point. Has shown some good speed in the last few races. Definitely improving. So he'll be a little bit disappointed there to not make it out of Q1. 17th for Dan in the Renault. 18th, Gareth in the Alfa Romeo. 19th for Jack in the second Red Bull. Very disappointing qualifying for Red Bull. And at the back, on his debut for Talk of the Devil, my former co-commentator, Sir Fraser McKenzie, lines up at the back of the grid for his first Talk of the Devil race. So that is the grid. The weather reports, as I've been told, is a completely dry race. We won't have any rain interrupting the race. Some people will be disappointed. That does add a lot of intrigue to the race, but it will be a completely dry race. Thank you to everyone joining me here. I'm seeing the numbers go up quite a lot more than I've seen at any race that I've commentated on. So I'm really, really pleased and delighted to have you all here joining me this evening. And hopefully we're going to have a good race. Certainly if qualifying is anything to go by, and the last race that I commentated on in Singapore is anything to go by, this should be an absolute cracker. Overtaking is possible here. It's a lot easier to overtake here than it is in Singapore. The drivers are starting to ready up now. So it won't be long before this race starts. I would also just very quickly like to say thank you to my partner for his continued support. Let me do this on a Saturday evening. Right, 5 lights are on. Lights out. Away we go. Great start there from the Mercedes of Dean in pole position. Sam has also had a good start as he's challenging his teammate. But Dean with an absolutely brilliant start off the line. Can the two Ferraris now slipstream him? Down to turn 1. There's Axel at the back. That's Gareth out of the race. And one of the Red Bulls. And there's the Ferrari spun. Callum spun into turn 2. There's mayhem already. We've got Gareth out of the race. A big accident in turn 1. That was one of the Red Bulls involved in that. Now Callum has spun into the second chicane and has dropped a long way down the grid. Dean leads from Sam. Stephen is third. Anthony Waddington want to start from him up into 4th place. And he's side by side with the McLaren and Rubbernecker. Rubbernecker runs wide. And Waddington, I think, is just about going to hang on to that. But Rubbernecker's not given up on this one yet. And look at that round the outside. Excellent traction out there. He may have to give that position back. But look at this. This is fantastic from these two. Side by side for 4 or 5 corners on the first lap. Sam, meanwhile, is coming right up on the back of Dean, but has already got a penalty. Well, that's quite impressive to get a penalty for corner cutting on lap 1 of the race. But we've got Dean from Sam. Stephen is third. Callum has dropped all the way back to 16th position. I'm going to try and see in a second if I can get Gareth into the party to see if he can tell us what happened into turn 1. I just saw a contact with a Red Bull, which I think was Jack who qualified near him on the grid. So I think those two came together. But we'll see if I can get him in very, very soon. Dean leads from Sam. Stephen now will be pushing hard to get past that Ferrari with Callum a long way down the grid. This is a great opportunity for him to really extend his championship lead by a massive amount here today. Callum's already taken 2 places. Let's have a look at how he's getting on. And he gets past Anthony to move up into 13th position. This should be something to watch now. I don't think there's any damage on that Ferrari, but this should be something to watch now, him coming back through the field. I've seen him do this a couple of times last season, and he's absolutely brilliant at this. I'm going to see if I can get Gareth in now very, very quickly. We'll see if I can get Gareth in for an interview to what happened into turn 1. But meanwhile, Callum has closed right up on Devon. This is the battle for 12th place. Race order, Dean still leading. He's pulling away a little bit now from Sam. We're going to try and go and find the leaders again. There we go. Dean is leading now by just over a second from Sam, with Stephen now really starting to push that Ferrari. In his first race, of course. So a lot of pressure here. And at the moment, he's the only point scorer for Ferrari. Penalty for Arthur in the Alfa Romeo. He's had a reasonable start as well. He's battling Jamie Keats for 7th position. So Dean now stretched his lead out to 1.5 seconds. The DRS has been activated and it is enabled here on this first part. Sam got great straight line speed there. And he just about holds him off. Look at this though. Stephen trying to go down the inside of turn 3. Sam brilliantly defends around the outside, run wide, and I think this will let Stephen through on the run up to turn 5, and it has indeed. So it's a Mercedes 1-2 now. Can Sam come back at Stephen? Out through the remainder of this lap. I'm desperately trying to see if I can get Gareth in. There's another yellow flag. I think that's Jamie Keats spun. Yes, it is. He's dropping down the order. I think there's been contact. He's got a little bit of damage. And there's a Toro Rosso going slowly down there. That's Neil. I think he's made a mistake as well. And right behind them now is Callum. I think Neil's got a bit of front wing damage. And Andy trying to go past Jamie Keats. Not quite making it. We also did have Michael Booker was missing from the grid, unfortunately for him. So he was 16th on the grid. So we are 19 in the race. We've already lost 1. Gareth Lamborn, unfortunately, out of the race. He was looking to try and get some points here. Look at this queue of cars here. We've got Jamie Keats in 9th. We've got Andy in 10th in the Haas. Right behind them is Callum. Oh, look at that. That Toro Rosso threw it up the inside of Callum and nearly made it stick. Callum just about hanging on in 11th place. And then we've got Neil 12th. And we've got Anthony 13th in the Williams. Devon 14th. Oh, and that's Neil off. Neil's gone flying off in the second to last corner. He's got a lot of front wing damage now. So he's going to struggle because he's missed the pit entry as well. So he's got a long, long way to go to get back round and get on a lap. To get into the pits and get on a fresh set of tyres. Just behind him now, look, closing up quickly, is Fraser McKenzie, who somehow has managed to avoid all the carnage around him. And he's running in 16th position at the moment. Back at the front, Callum gets a penalty. Look at that. That's Anthony Waddington and Joe Newman. With Arthur right in there as well. These three having a fantastic scrap over 5th place. This is 5th, 6th and 7th here. And Waddington just ahead of Arthur in the Alfa Romeo, who's having a stunning first weekend here in the league. And Joe Newman in the Racing Point right in there as well. The DRS will be open for the two behind Ant Waddington here. And yes, Arthur goes through and Joe Newman just about sneaks through, but Ant Waddington will get the DRS on the main straight. Joe Newman gets a penalty in that chicane as well. I think there will be a lot of penalties here. It's very easy to pick one up around here, and of course with them trialling strict corner cutting, of course, I think there is going to be a lot of penalties come the end of the race. So that's going to be a hard one for the admins to decide what's what with that one. But Dean's lead now is out to 2 seconds over his teammate. He would love to get a victory here with Dean and try and close the gap on the World Championship team Callum. Sam is 3rd, but he now has Rubbernecker all over the back of him. And they are about 4 seconds clear of the battle for 6 that we've just been looking at. So here are the two Mercedes. Familiar sight this, isn't it? Mercedes 1-2. Here is the battle for 3rd. So Sam now with Rubbernecker right behind him. Neil has pitted. So we're on lap 5 now, 53 lap race. Dean's got a 2-second lead over Stephen, who's got a 3.5 second gap back to this battle here. Sam versus Rubbernecker. This is a great opportunity for Rubbernecker here to possibly get a podium just off the pace in Singapore, so couldn't quite get himself up there, but with Callum still fighting his way through the field, he's recovered up to 10th so far. His next target is Jamie Keats, but this could be a great opportunity for Rubbernecker to get his first podium for a while, as Jamie Keats gets a penalty. So I think there is going to be a lot of penalties here. There is Arthur. He's now pulled away a little bit there in 5th position from Ant Waddington, who's still fighting Joe Newman, and now Jorge's joined the fun as well in 8th position, with Jamie Keats and Callum also closing quickly on that lot. So what a battle we've got in the midfield. The gaps between them all are very, very close. Fraser McKenzie being left behind a little bit in 15th position. He's 10.5 seconds behind the nearest car. I don't know if he's made an error somewhere. That Ferrari does seem to have good straight line speed. We saw the Mercedes struggling to get past him in a straight line, and now the McLaren is too. Let's have a look, see how Callum's getting on. He's 2 seconds back. I'm just trying to see if he's got any damage. He's not really closing the gap on the cars in front of him very much. Can't see any damage on that front wing. So he might just be struggling. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. Let's see who that might be. And that is Fraser McKenzie. He spun it in turn 1. That's quite impressive. Must have just collected with the wall on the inside, because turn 1 is usually completely flat out. So I'm not quite sure how he managed to end up backwards there. Just trying to see. I think he might have a little bit of damage to his front wing, but not enough to warrant a pit stop, I wouldn't have thought. So Fraser McKenzie could be in for a long, lonely afternoon now. He's 25 seconds behind the nearest car. He has got Phil closing on him quickly. He pitted at the end of lap 1. But Fraser 15th at the moment, but you never know. We have seen races with only a few finishes, so if he keeps it going, he could end up... Oh, look at this. This is Jamie Keats throwing it up the inside of Jorge. I think Jorge saw him coming in the last second, just about gave him space. And yes, he did, but Jorge maintains the position. This is such a great battle going on here. We saw this in Singapore last time out with the leaders, and this time this is for 6th position. Anthony Waddington, Joe Newman, Jorge Klatzer and Jamie Keats, with Callum just about keeping a watching brief behind them in 10th position. He's on the medium tyres, of course. The cars in front of him are all on the softs. So that might explain why he's struggling to close up. But Andy's hanging on nicely behind him in the Haas. So there might be some sort of secondary problem, as here comes Joe Newman up the inside of Anthony Waddington. He sees him coming, gives him the space, but hangs on nicely around the outside. You do get the feeling that Ant Waddington might just be a little bit of a mobile chicane there, holding these three up. And if they could just find a way through, they might be able to get a bit of a gap, the same way as Arthur has in the Alfa Romeo. You can see him 3 seconds up the road now. But these four having a fantastic battle, and Callum is now starting to close the gap to them. So I'm just hearing from Gareth as well. It was actually a Renault that hit him at the start. So I think that would probably be Dan, who started 17th, just ahead of him on the grid. So that would make sense. I'm hoping that Gareth will join me in the commentary box in a second for a very short interview about the first corner. He will be disappointed because he was hoping to get some points here this weekend. But here comes Joe Newman once again. Not quite close enough this time around. So Dean's lead now is just out to over 2 seconds. Quick shout out as well, I've just seen on the chat stream to Ben Hazelwood, who I believe is watching this. So hello Ben, glad to see you watching us this evening. I hope you're well. And I'll be commentating on you tomorrow as well, of course, in Extreme 1 here around rush hour. So here comes Joe Newman once again, not quite close on this time. Callum now has joined the back of this pack. Oh, and the McLaren's very wide there. Jamie Keats very wide indeed in turn 1. Phil gets a penalty. He's back in 16th position. Let's see what Callum can do here now. He's right with Jorge and Jamie Keats. Jamie lost a bit of momentum there, running wide in turn 2. But these five have such a good battle. Stephen just narrowing the gap down a little bit here. And look at this. This is Sam and Rubbernecker battling hard for third place. I just saw the gap really dropping down. And, oh, there's contact! Rubbernecker spun. There's contact. He went for a gap that wasn't quite there, and he has spun round, and there's damage to that front wing. He's going to have to pit early. Sam, I don't think connected with the wall. I think he just about kept it out of it. But Rubbernecker, we saw him swarming all over the back of Sam, and he went for a gap, and Sam didn't see it coming, and there was contact there, so Rubbernecker will have to pit. He'll be losing a lot of front downforce there. Arthur slipped through there as well. He's up into 4th place now in that Alfa Romeo. From 7th on the grid, he's kept himself out of trouble, and yes, Rubbernecker does pit. So not the greatest of races so far from the McLarens. They started 5th and 6th on the grid. Jamie was up to, Rubbernecker was up to 4th, back into 3rd, but he's now having to pit very early. And the other McLaren down in 14th position now after another mistake from Jamie. He's dropped out of this battle. Callum, look at Callum, he's up to 7th in all this. Jorge trying to come back at him down into turn 2, but he's not going to have enough straight line speed with that Renault. And look at this, Joe Newman now has got past Ant Waddington into what is now 5th position. Can Ant Waddington come back at him into turn 4? He's gone for it very late on the brake, but very nicely done. And he squeezed him out wide on the exit, and Ant Waddington regains 5th position. Here comes Callum having a little bit of a look. Thinks better of it. Not quite a long enough straight there. So this is over. 5th position. We got Ant Waddington, Joe Newman, Callum Harrod and Jorge Platzer battling for 5th position. Both McLarens pitted on that previous lap, by the way. And interestingly, they've both gone onto a set of hard tyres, so they might be trying to go to the end. 44 laps is not impossible on a set of hard tyres around here. The tyre degradation is very, very low. And look at this, Callum's getting past Joe Newman now, up into 6th place. Oh, and there's contact! There's contact. Joe Newman misjudged Callum's braking, and he's hit the back of Callum. And I think there's front wing damage for Joe. I definitely saw a piece of end fence, and now Jorge trying to get up the inside, but he backed out of it at the last second. But there's definitely damage now for Joe Newman. But he doesn't pit. He just misjudged Callum's braking there. The closing speed down into that chicane is huge. And I think Callum's braking just caught out Joe, and he's letting him go. Good sportsmanship there from Joe Newman. He realised his error, and he's let Callum go back through. Meanwhile, look at this. Sam in 3rd place is now just a second clear of Arthur in the Alfa Romeo. He's up to 4th and he's closing the gap. I don't think there's any damage from that incident with Rubbernecker for Sam. So the Alfa Romeo just seems to have very, very good pace. Also up the front, Stephen has been able to close the gap down by about half a second to his teammate out front. It's just over a second and a half between the two Mercedes drivers. And they are nearly 12 seconds clear of the Ferrari of Sam now. So these Mercedes are absolutely dominating and pulling away very, very quickly. Neil, after his pit stop, came out in 16th position. He's now all over the back of Fraser McKenzie. This is the battle for 15th position. There is Fraser. And Neil's actually dropped back. So Neil's dropped right back. Has he got a problem? He's lost a lot of time there, because he was all over the back of Fraser, and now he's dropped to behind Jamie Keats down into 17th. So some kind of error there for Neil. Poor race for Red Bull as well at the moment, down in 12th and 18th. Very poor race for those two. But Dean now has his teammate less than a second behind him. What are Mercedes going to do here? Because, of course, Stephen is leading the World Championship by an absolute country mile. And but Dean showed he was quicker in qualifying. And there's a yellow flag in sector 1. I think that's Jorge. He's made a mistake. There we see he's dropped down. Or is it Andy? Yeah, Andy's also dropped down. I don't know if those two have come together. But they both dropped down the order, and Callum now is past Anthony Waddington. There we can see just the tail end of the manoeuvre. Anthony Waddington falls behind Callum. Don't think you would have fought that too hard, really. Anthony's a very sensible racer. Knows which battles aren't worth fighting, and that Ferrari is ultimately a lot quicker. So excellent drive so far, I've got to say, from Anthony in the Williams. He started 15th on the grid, and currently he's running in the points in 9th position. Also Dan as well, who I think caused the problem with Gareth at the start, but he's up into 10th. So excellent start from those two, considering they started so far down the grid. Gareth has just informed me he won't be joining the party chat, unfortunately. He's pretty annoyed with what happened at the start, so he won't be joining me for the interview, which is a shame. Here's Ant Waddington into the pits. He was 6th, we've just seen him being overtaken. So 12 laps on those soft tyres. Two Mercedes getting ever closer together, just under a second apart now. So I'm just going to see if I can find the World Championship table at the moment as things stand. But they definitely look like they could be looking to swap these two. They're getting closer and closer, the two Mercedes, now under half a second apart. And I haven't seen any mistakes from Dean. So maybe they are just getting ready to swap the two drivers around. Currently, Stephen leads the World Championship by some 85 points from Callum Harrod. 6 points behind that is Dean. So he will be looking to try and take that second place away from Callum. They are... Dean is just over 20 points clear of Gary Brandon, of course, isn't racing here this evening. Kyle, 5th in the championship, also not racing. Rubbernecker is 6th in the championship. He can overtake Kyle this evening with him not racing. He's currently in 12th position. We saw him have that spin trying to overtake Sam, an early pit stop. And meanwhile, in the constructors, Mercedes lead by 165 points. Well, they're going to be adding massively to that with a 1-2 at the moment. And the two Ferraris, 3rd and 5th now for Callum. Are they going to just let the two Mercedes race here? They're very, very close together, and there's been no switch around so far. So are they just going to try and maybe put on a bit of a show here? Dean has led from the beginning. He had the quicker qualifying pace. Are they going to let him go for the win here, or will they ask him to move out of the way for his teammate leading the championship? Half a second between them. Sam is 15 seconds behind them. Still has Arthur in the Alfa Romeo swarming all over the back of him. Callum has driven well back through the field. We saw that little bit of action with Joe Newman. But he's back into 5th position after spinning at the start. Joe Newman is 6th for Racing Point. The two Renaults now running line astern in 7th and 8th. Just ahead of Anthony in the Williams in 9th. And 10th place on his debut as well is Andy in the Haas. Desperately looking for some points for Haas. They've had such a poor season so far. He's got Devon Little for company behind him in 11th place. As the Alfa Romeo's moved up into 3rd. Look at this, they're side by side. Arthur's gone round the outside. He's pushed Sam wide. And Arthur's made it through. Excellent move there. He went round the outside of the chicane at the end of the second DRS zone, which is a brave thing to do at the best of times. And he hung on there and gave Sam no space on the outside. But Sam, he's going to have the racing line, the DRS down into turn 2. The two Mercedes aren't really fighting each other here, are they? They're holding station in 1st and 2nd position. Can Sam here? The DRS is activated now in the middle of turn 2. Arthur goes defensive, but we know that Ferrari's got so much straight line speed, and he sweeps in round the outside. That was brave, and he's made it stick. And he's trying to squeeze Arthur out of it. They're side by side all the way through turn 3. Sam's going to have the inside line for turn 4. A little bit of contact, but they'll get away with that. And Sam, and look at this. This is absolutely brilliant racing here from the two newcomers. Still side by side on the run down to turn 5. And Arthur just about gets ahead. He's run a little bit wide though. Sam's coming back alongside him. Look at this. This is absolutely brilliant from these two. They spent half a lap side by side. This time Sam runs wide. Can Arthur get back alongside him? Not quite. Lost a little bit of momentum there, but he is going to have DRS down this next straight as Dean starts to extend his lead once again. Joe Newman has pitted, meanwhile, from 6th position. So he's gone on for a brand new set of medium tyres. Is Arthur going to be close enough here to have a run? He is indeed. Sam goes defensive at the last second. This is what happened on the previous lap. Arthur not quite close enough this time to hang on around the outside. But these two are having a fantastic battle. Meanwhile, the leader's pitted. Dean pits at the end of lap 14. End of lap 14, he goes on to a set of medium tyres as well. Look at this, these two having such a great battle this time. Arthur's going to have the DRS, but actually that Toro Rosso will be helping Sam a lot. It might have just given Sam DRS down into turn 2 as well. Let's have a look. No, it hasn't. Are they going to get blocked? They are blocked. They go either side. Oh my goodness me. How did Sam not hit that Toro Rosso? Neil, I think, was rabbit caught in the headlights there. Didn't know which way to go. He had leaders coming through either side. Sam trying to hang on around the outside. Down into turn 4 once again. And he has great Clayton and again makes it stick. These two having such a fantastic battle for what is now 2nd position after the pit stop of Dean, who now has Callum for company. Callum just behind Dean on the same tyres. Of course, as we said, tyre degradation very, very low round here, so Callum shouldn't be too much slower. He's done 14 laps on those medium tyres. As that is Anthony passing one of the Renaults. Dan trying to hang on around the outside. Still, there is 4 or 5 cars. Oh, there's contact! That is Dan and Andy have made contact. They both connected with the wall. They did get very, very close together. This is what can happen when you get cars this close together for so long. Devon managed to nip through there. He's now up into the points in 8th position for that Red Bull. And Anthony as well, driving a great race. He's 7th for Williams, having started 15th on the grid. So he's having a great start to this race. Great opening stint. He started on the medium tyres. He'll be going for a little while yet as Sam pits. So Sam from 2nd, that could be a smart move. With Arthur staying out, he might be able to just get the undercut here. Let's have a look, see how quick he is. The yellow flag in sector 1 and 2. I'll try and see who that is. I'm not quite sure. I think it might have been back marker, maybe getting out of the way. I think that's the only explanation I can find for that. This is Rubbernecker. He's running in 11th position as we speak on a set of those hard tyres. He had to pit after contact with Sam earlier on. And look at this, Sam immediately comes out the pits and is immediately in another battle, this time with Jorge, but he's on much fresher tyres this time. As Andy pits as well. He was running in the points. He's now going to be 14th or 15th around his teammate. So race order. Stephen leads. He's staying out quite a bit longer than his teammate. He leads by just over 20 seconds from, well, drive of the race so far, I've got to say, from Arthur in the Alfa Romeo. Some brilliant dicing with Sam. And he's up into 2nd place. Yes, he pits immediately. We saw Sam pit on the last lap. This is going to be very, very close. That will allow Dean back through into 2nd. Callum is hanging on very well. I said those medium tyres shouldn't be too much slower, despite having done quite a few more laps. And we're seeing it proven here because Callum is hanging on very nicely to Dean in what is now 3rd place. Let's have a look. Where's Sam? Here he is coming into the last couple of corners. I think he is going to have it, so the undercut is worth quite a lot here, it would seem. We saw how close these two were before, and Sam is comfortably going to get past Arthur and back into 4th place. Can Arthur get ahead of Jorge? That's going to be a close one because he desperately would want to be ahead of this train of cars that are fighting hard, and he just slots in, runs a little bit wide, but that's okay coming out the pit lane. It is a much more acute angle. As the Williams, that's Fraser McKenzie being lapped on lap 17 here. He is running last now of the runners. Yellow flag in 6-1, that'll be Fraser letting the leaders through. So Stephen's lead is now 24 seconds, and I believe it's about 25 seconds to make a pit stop here. So it's going to be still very close between those two Mercedes. Stephen pits, so let's see where he comes out in relation. He'll definitely want to be ahead of Callum. It's going to be very, very close. Let's have a look. Dean now coming down the pit straight. So coming into the final corner. This is going to be very close here between the two Mercedes. Has Stephen, as he now gets up to speed, been able to stay ahead of his teammate by the overcut could have worked here. Look how close this is, and Dean just about takes the lead. Wow, that was close between those two, and perfect for Mercedes. They do manage to get Stephen ahead of Callum. Sam now again has got the Alfa Romeo. That Toro Rosso getting badly in Sam's way here down the main straight. Hopefully we'll have seen that there is the Alfa Romeo coming through, and he does. Oh no, he doesn't. He makes contact just about. I don't think he would have cost Arthur any time there. Cost himself more time. That's Neil running down in 17th position, not having the greatest race. He qualified 13th, made a fairly good start, was running near the points, and now he's really struggling. And look at that, there's a Red Bull losing control in the background trying to lap Neil. That is Anthony just ahead of him in the Williams. Oh, there's contact behind. That's Dan on Neil. So Neil really not getting out of the way of the leaders at all. Now Dan's got damage. We saw him getting in the way of the Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari earlier, and now he's got in Dan's way as well. And that's given Dan a broken front wing. He's going to have to pit. So Neil, I think, getting on a few people's nerves here. Not letting the leaders through very easily. And here we go again. We've got two battles right at the front. We've got the two Mercedes separated by a few tenths. And then we've got Sam and Arthur separated by a few tenths in the battle for fourth. And Stephen thought about going around the outside. Team orders are going to have to come into this. They can't afford for them to be running into each other, of course, with Callum right behind them. If they start costing each other time, they are pulling away from Callum. But if they start costing each other time, there may come a team order here of let Stephen go. Because at the moment, on these tyres, he does look faster. So that could be an interesting call later on. Stephen's definitely got these tyres immediately where he wants them, and on this set of tyres it's a lot more comfortable, but they are pulling away from Callum in third place. Jorge meanwhile and Dan, the two Renaults, have done 18 laps on their soft tyres, much longer than anyone else. Everyone else did about 14 to 16 laps. These two have done 18 so far. And look how close these two Mercedes are getting. Just hope it doesn't all end in tears, boys, because Callum is there ready and waiting to pounce just 3 seconds down the road. And what a disaster it would be if these two coming together could hand a win to Callum. It would significantly tighten the gap at the top of the World Championship. Yellow flag in sector 1. I'll try and see what that is. Let's have a look. Can I see a car off anywhere? I think it might just be maybe a back marker in another way. Look at these two fighting hard. This is now for fourth place. Sam and Arthur feel like they've been at it forever here. Just behind them is Jorge having a great run in the Renault. He started 11th on the grid on the soft tyres. He's up to 6th place now as Stephen gets a penalty in 2nd place. So two of the top 3 have got penalties. I don't think Dean has so far. So that could be significant later on. But they're still separated by a few tenths. And look at this. Arthur tried to go around the outside of Sam. Sam shut the door. He's driving very defensively here, is Sam, and it's just about okay at the moment as Neil pits again. He's right at the back anyway. But interestingly here, these two are just about nibbling into the gap to Callum ahead of them. So Callum, of course, spun on the opening lap. He's recovered up to third place, having qualified second. And that's Phil out of the race. Phil has retired. Let's see what happened to him. This is the Red Bull of Jack. He's coming towards where Phil went off. Oh, a little bit of contact himself with the wall there. But Phil has retired from the race. So he becomes our second retirement of the day. I think he might be in this chicane. They cleared the car away very quickly. I think it was on the run out of this chicane. We saw a few cars spin there in qualifying. Indeed it was. So we've got 2 retirements now. Oh, and that's Arthur out. He's done the same thing. He's connected with the wall on the exit of the chicane. And such a shame. What a brilliant debut he's had so far. But Arthur, he's out of the race. Both Alfa Romeos out of the race. I just hope no one else collects that stricken Alfa Romeo. But he's in a very awkward position. Will they be looking at a safety car here? Because that is in a very, very awkward position. Can they clear it in time? Yes, they have. They've just been able to clear it. So I thought we might be looking at a safety car, but that is our 3rd retirement of the day now. Both Alfa Romeos out, so no points for them. And Phil out in the Haas as Andy makes his 2nd pit stop. He has got some front wing damage. He only pitted a few laps ago. So he hits. He was running up in the points as well. And there's a virtual safety car. There's another car as well. That is Neil. He's done the same thing as well in the Toro Rosso. So 3 retirements in the same corner. And there is a virtual safety car on track. So all drivers now have to slow down by 40%. They have to drive within a designated time until the green flag is given. And anyone who exceeds it will be given a penalty. It can vary from a 10-second penalty to a drive-through penalty. So they are quite strict on this. So it just gives us a second here just to calm down and take note of what's happening here. Look at this. Stephen trying to get ready to jump his teammate here. The virtual safety car has ended. The DRS has been enabled instantly. Dean leads by half a second from his teammate. These two having a great fight. 3rd place, 5 seconds behind them is Callum. Sam, his teammate, is 4th and just about closing the gap down as well. He's taken about half a second a lap out of Callum. And now that Sam's gone, Arthur's retired, he'll be in some clear traffic. How quickly can he close the gap? As Dean does now get a penalty. So I think that's his first penalty. Jorge finally picks at the end of lap 21 to go onto a set of medium tyres. But we've got Mercedes, Ferrari. Anthony is having a stunning drive here. He's in 5th place. Don't forget, he started 15th on the grid and he's now up to 5th. Yes, he's got to make a pit stop, but there's a lot of things going on around him here, so he could be in for a very good result. Likewise, Devon Little as well. He started in 14th on the grid. He's up to 6th, also yet to stop. Dan, despite his front wing damage here in the Renault, he's still going. He's in 7th, yet to stop in the Renault. Behind that is Anthony Waddington, who has stopped in the Toro Rosso. And then there's Robin Eckernight and Joe Newman rounds out the top 10 in the Force, not the Force India, that was last year, it's the Racing Point, sorry. Jamie Keats is 11th, Jorge Klatzer 12th in the Renault, who's just pitted. Andy's 13th in the Haas, 14th is Jack in the Red Bull, and 15th is Fraser McKenzie in the Williams. They're the only runners left. I said here, whoever finishes could get a point. There's in a lot of incidents. So it's not all over for Fraser McKenzie, even though he is 40 seconds off the back of the pack at the moment. And that's Devon out. He's done exactly the same thing. Can you believe it? Oh, and that's Neil was... No man Waddington's, I think, went to the wall as well. But Devon Little running well up in 6th place. He's also out of the race. They all seem to be struggling. Once the tyres get warm there, in that chicane, they just seem to be struggling in the dirty air with worn tyres. And Devon becomes at least the 4th or 5th driver to retire at that chicane. Can you believe it here? As Joe Newman gets past Rubbernecker to take 8th place. So that's released a little bit of pressure now on Anthony in the Williams. He's 5th. Well, can you believe that? How many cars are going to retire in the same corner here? So Red Bull, well, they had a dismal qualifying. It was starting to look up there with Devon up in 6th. But now, Devon retires from the race. Jack is 2nd to last at the moment, which will be 13th. Well, how many cars are going to finish here? Meanwhile, the 2 Mercedes getting very, very close once again. And look at this. This is Dan has caught right up to Waddington. I think he's made a mistake somewhere. We did see him just touching the wall. I wonder if he's maybe got a bit of damage. But he's now got Dan for company, who's still going on those original set of soft tyres. He's doing an excellent job. He's done 20. This is his 23rd lap on these tyres. Much, much further than anyone else has managed. And he is now pitting, I believe. But what a first stint from him. He's got up to 7th. He started down in 17th. So he's shown he's got some pace here in the race. From 17th up to 7th. But the 2 Mercedes are getting very close together once again. They're now 8 seconds clear of Callum, who has been able to extend the gap back to his teammate once again. So, at least some of that pressure. Look at this. Dean having to go defensive. Stephen gets a run on him, but it isn't quite close enough. No DRS open there from Stephen. I wonder if there is maybe a little bit of damage, or they are choosing to stay in the positions they are for now. Got to say, at the moment, Stephen does look the more composed of the 2 drivers. Dean is pushing very, very hard, running wide in quite a few corners. So Stephen looking the more composed there in 2nd position. But it wouldn't surprise me here if there are team orders being applied, because again, Dean, he's going defensive, so maybe there isn't. Here comes Stephen. He's trying to go around the outside. The 2 Mercedes wheel to wheel. Don't take each other off, boys. And well, Stephen backed out of it, and Dean retains the lead. So these 2 are fighting for position here. I thought that maybe the team manager at Mercedes would ask them to hold station, but they are fighting hard for position. This is for the race lead, don't forget. Callum over 8 seconds behind them now in 3rd position. But he'll be quite happy with that if he can maintain a podium spot. Sam has had yet another penalty. He's having a lot of penalties so far in this race, is Sam. He's running 4th. Anthony's still going. There's only Callum and Anthony yet to stop now. They're running 3rd and 5th. Of course, don't forget, Callum spun in turn 1, or else he'd be a long way out in the lead ahead of these 2, especially with these 2 Mercedes fighting. But I think Callum's in the same position as those 2 Mercedes. He's got one more stop to make later on in the race. He's on much, much older tyres at the moment, and will be pitting earlier than the Mercedes. So could he possibly have enough pace when he comes out of the pits, depending on what tyres he comes on, to make up that 9-second gap? It'll be a tall order. Don't forget as well here, not only do you get a point for the fastest lap in the top 10, also you get an extra point. Sorry, very quickly here, this time Stephen's got a runner. He's on the inside, and Dean didn't really defend that one, so Stephen now does take the lead. The 2 Mercedes have swapped positions. Seemed quite an easy pass there, so didn't fight it too hard, did Dean. Maybe he realised that his teammate did have a better run. Now, how quickly can Stephen pull away from his teammate, or has Dean got enough pace to hang on to his teammate? But yes, also don't forget here, outside of the top 10, whoever finishes 11th to what is now 14th and gets the fastest lap of those cars will get 2 points. And at the moment, that is being held by Andy in the Haas on a 140.1. So he could still get another couple good points. And that's Rubbernecker out of the race. He's gone off again at the same place. Can you believe it? Another car succumbs to the barrier on the exit of the chicane. This time it's Rubbernecker in the McLaren. He was looking good for some very strong points once again, but he becomes at least the 5th victim of that chicane, and another virtual safety car has been deployed. So once again they're all going to have to slow down while they recover that McLaren. Well, can you believe it? Another retirement. Rubbernecker was running well. Had a spin earlier on, of course. Had to make a much earlier pit stop than he wanted. But he was looking at getting some points again. But he's now out of the race. He becomes our 6th retirement. We're down to 13 now. Because Michael Booker was unable to start the race, unfortunately. The two Mercedes running very, very close together. Oh, Dean, the virtual safety car has been ended. So we're back up to speed here. Dean tried to pounce, couldn't quite. So these two Mercedes are really fighting hard here, aren't they? I'm surprised they're letting them fight this hard. It all ends in tears. They could end up with nothing at the moment. It's looking like a comfortable 1-2 for them. Callum's now 10 seconds behind them in 3rd position. Sam is 4th. Anthony up to 5th now in that Williams. Ant Wallington is 6th. Joe Newman 7th. Jamie Keats is 8th in the other McLaren. And the two Renaults are 9th and 10th. And that's after they've made their stop. So they are looking good here, the two Renaults. If they can go to the end on those medium tyres, which, given how well they made the soft tyres last, I would say that's not impossible. They could be looking good for some very strong points. As here comes Dean once again. He's trying to get, so he's just squeezed up the inside. And Dean retakes the lead. That was brave. There was so nearly contact there. But Dean just about squeezes through to retake the lead from Stephen. So they're really putting on a show here out front. They're fighting hard. They know it's looking like an easy 1-2, but they both want the win for themselves. But of course, Dean's not totally out of the World Championship fight, is he? But he knows it's going to be a tall order to claw back the amount of gap that Stephen has. Here we go again down to turn 2. This time Stephen's going to have the inside line with the DRS. This is great fighting between these two. We have seen some good fights here today, but these two are really doing well. And Stephen did get past, but he's run wide coming out of the turn 2, and Dean gets through once again. So once again, Dean retakes the lead. These two are swapping, and Stephen have a little look up into turn 5, but decides better of it. Callum still about 10 seconds behind you. They've actually lost about half a second, these two, in this fight. So Callum just starting to take the gap back down again. Sam is 4th. And also just starting to nibble away at that gap to his teammate, but it is 17 seconds. So, and that's the Haas getting nicely out of the way. That's Andy. He's just outside the points at the moment in 11th position. Is Steve going to be close enough? Not quite this time. Oh, so nearly made contact there in the braking zone. I hope these two don't come to blows. That would be a disaster for Mercedes. But at the moment, it's good, clean racing between these two. Little look down into the last 2 corners. Just trying to distract his teammate there is Stephen into the last 2 corners. Dean's, I think, a bit too wise for that. So we're going to have another run down to turn 2. And this time, Dean has gone defensive. Stephen trying to go around the outside and brake later, but Dean nice and late on the brakes. And they're still fighting hard down into turn 4, but Dean's still just about staying ahead. what entertainment these two are putting on here. This is what we want to see at the front of the Grand Prix. These two fighting hard. And with this lap here, Dean has pulled a little bit of a gap. Look, he's 7/10 clear of his teammate. As they come down, yes, indeed, Stephen not close enough this time in the second DRS zone to have a look at his teammates. It does seem to be just balanced now as Waddington gets past Anthony to take 5th position. But still, Anthony will be delighted with where he is at the moment. He's in 6th. He's 8 seconds clear of Joe Newman. And I think they both have to stop again yet. So, excellent race so far for him. Done enough. Teammate's not going to be close enough. Fastest lap of the race by Callum. That's very interesting. On 29 lap old tyres, Callum's just done the fastest lap of the race. So where did he pull that one from? Very impressive lap time there. And Anthony and Waddington haven't. Battle of the two Anthonys here. They haven't given up. And look at this. That's very, very close. Anthony and the Williams on very old tyres. And Waddington pitted a little while ago now, 17 laps ago, but much fresher tyres, because of course the Williams has not pitted yet, but they're still fighting hard into the last 2 corners, and the Williams should have DRS this time, down on the run to turn 2, so he could yet come back at him again. Joe Newman's taken 2 seconds out of these two, so he should be appearing very soon. And Waddington goes defensive. Anthony round the outside. How late is he prepared to brake? And he made that stick very nicely. And he retakes the position. So good fighting here up and down the field. Some fantastic battles going on. Jamie Keats as well is closing up on Joe Newman. Just behind these two. That's the battle for 7th position. The two Renaults are 9th and 10th. About 11 seconds apart. So they're closing out the point scoring positions at the moment. So lap 31, we're well past the half distance now as Callum pits from 3rd place. This is his first stop. Only him and Anthony are yet to stop. And he goes on to a set of soft tyres. So 22 laps to go. We saw the Renaults making those tyres last that long, so I reckon that should be quite comfortable for Callum to do. We saw how well he can make those tyres last in Singapore. Did 50 laps on a set of hard tyres at Singapore. So Callum comes out in 4th place. He's only dropped behind his teammate, comfortably clear of Waddington in the Toro Rosso, who's still fighting the Williams behind him in 6th position, and they're both still being caught quite quickly. The battle for 7th position between Joe Newman and Jamie Keats, so that could be one to watch in a little while as well. Meanwhile, the two Mercedes now half a minute clear, and look at this, Stephen has got the inside line this time, down into the corner, and Dean trying to hang on around the outside. There was a little bit of contact there. Be careful, boys, your manager won't want you to take each other out. Dean's got himself back into the lead. Stephen's still up the inside, but Dean has got the position. But Stephen with a much better run out of the chicane, down into the second to last corner. But I think that was quite clever from Dean. He backed off a little bit, and I think that will mean he gets DRS down the straight. So, excellent driving there from Dean. But excellent driving from the pair of them not to hit each other. Here we go. Yes, Dean does get the DRS as they come down towards turn 2, and he has got the position back. How late is Stephen going to brake? He's got track position. And Dean retakes the lead once again. These two are having such a brilliant battle. Keep an eye out for Callum. I mean, that was very interesting to me that he set fastest lap about a lap or 2 before he pitted. And now he's come out on a brand new set of those soft tyres. He's 3.5 seconds behind his teammate, who shouldn't give him any bother, really. He should let him back through. He was about 12 seconds behind the two Mercedes, who they will have noted this and will definitely be keeping an eye on their pace. They will not want the undercut here from Callum. I'm pretty sure these two will be stopping again. About 30 laps. Anthony's still going on these tyres. There's 21 laps to go. And Anthony's done 31 laps on these tyres so far. I am joined in the commentary box, very quick interview with Rubbernecker from McLaren. If you could just make sure your audio's included as well, please, Jamie. Good. Well, race of ups and downs for you, really. You were running strong early on. You were backing hard with Sam. Then you had that spin. Whose fault do you think that spin was? Was it just an error from you, or did Sam turn in on you?
No, honestly, to be honest, I'd have to look back at it. I think it was a little bit tight, to be fair, to call without looking at it again. But I felt like he was probably a little bit all over the track, trying to keep me behind him, which was making it difficult. And yeah, I think really that kind of put an end to my race, or a decent race at least, because I had good pace, quality was decent, and yeah, I thought the race pace was decent as well. Like I say, I need to look at it again, to be honest, but I felt that it was probably less so my fault.
Yeah, I only really saw the end of it. I can't really judge from my position, but you were on a good comeback. You were looking still good to score some solid points, and then you become victim number 6 of the second chicane. Is it particularly slippery on that part of the track? Is there something there, or was it just tyres getting older and just running a bit wide? Because there's literally been about 5 or 6 now crash at that chicane, and exactly the same way as well.
Yeah, no, and obviously I saw a few of them going around, and to be fair, I mean, where I had to pit early and put the wing on, I was on the hards, and they weren't, to be honest, it felt a bit slippy on them because the tyres weren't really coming to me at all. I couldn't get them to work very well. And yeah, that corner, sometimes if you're pushing hard, you can run out a little bit wide, and it's fairly close to the wall. And I wasn't sure, a few laps before, you could see that the barriers had been sort of like, moved across the track, and I wasn't sure whether it was just like a gaming error, and you drive straight through them. But you didn't. You don't. You hit them.
Yeah, I think it was just disturbed from a couple of other crashes into there. But unlucky, Jamie. Better luck next time. I was actually rooting for a podium for you today, so yeah. Again, commentators curse strikes. I seem to have done that 3 or 4 times so far this evening, so it's probably my fault. I apologise.
Listen, thanks very much. No, it was a good race up till then, but better luck next time. I like Suzuka, so I generally go pretty well around there. So just put this one behind me and on to the next.
Indeed. Thank you for joining me, Jamie. If we go back to the race, that was Rubbernecker there. Unfortunately, one of our first retirements, the latest of our 7 retirements so far in this race, or 6 retirements. Down to 13 runners in the field. Nothing has changed while we were doing that interview. Dean still leads the race by less than a second from his teammate. Callum is very, very quickly, this is very interesting, very quickly catching these two. He has set a couple of blistering fastest laps. He's passed his teammate, which is any significant thing that's happened, but he, like I said, it's about 26 seconds for a pit stop. He's now down to 29 seconds behind these two, and they're busy fighting. Stephen's up the inside, and Stephen retakes the lead once again from his teammate. If he can slow it down, he has run a little bit wide. I think Dean might go around the outside, and he has. So these two are fighting hard. If they're stopping again, they're losing a lot of time at the moment to Callum, who's on those fresh soft tyres, which we know from the Renaults can do distance to the end, especially on lower fuel tanks, of course, lower fuel loads. that he should comfortably be able to get those tyres to do 22 laps in the end. So Callum is bringing himself into play here with a series of storming laps. If he can just sort of take another few seconds out of those two Mercedes, he will be within striking range if these two do stop again, which I'm pretty sure they do. It'll be a tall order to try and make these tyres go the distance, these medium tyres, and they're still fighting hard. I wonder if they've noticed, or their managers noticed, just how quickly Callum is catching them now. He's taken another second and a half out of them so far on this lap. So the lead now between two Mercedes 1-2 and Callum in third place is now down to 27 seconds. About 25-26 for a pit stop, so it's getting closer. Sam is fourth. He comfortably let his teammate through. Jamie Keats and Joe Newman having a good battle for sixth place now in the other McLaren. Jamie trying to get some pride back here for McLaren in this race. It's not been the best race for them, as Stephen once again takes the lead from his teammate, but once again runs wide. He's really struggled to slow the car down there into turn 2, and every lap he's letting his teammate through. He's just braking so late to try and get past his teammate. He's running wide, and Callum now still catching him. We've seen him set fastest lap on a 1:35.9. That's 2 seconds quicker than the Mercedes were able to go on brand new tyres. So he is absolutely flying now. And he's definitely almost within range of a pit stop. Now Sam is fourth. Oh, there's yellow flag in sector 1. Is that Horgate? Not quite sure. Oh, I definitely saw a yellow flag. That maybe Horgate went off. As that's the Red Bull of Jack in his first race. Jamie Keats pits as well. He was running in 7th place. We saw him have that battle with Joe Newman for 6th. So Jamie Keats now pits. He will be going to the end. We see there in the background. That is Jack pitting. Also as well, while we were talking to Rubbernecker, we saw Anthony the Williams finally pit. He was the last man to pit. He's gone on to a set of soft tyres, and he's out in 7th place now and surely able to go to the end. Dean does pit. Now this is going to be very, very tight with Callum. Dean pits from the lead. They pitted them the other way round. Well, Stephen pitted first last time. This time Dean pits. He's also gone onto a set of softs. I think he should be okay. Here comes Callum round the final corner. This is going to be tight. And that's Fraser McKenzie out the race. Fraser McKenzie becomes our 7th retirement. And have a look at this. Is Callum... Look how close it is here. It could be close with Stephen. Don't forget, Dean was just in front of Stephen. So this could be very close. And I think Fraser McKenzie has gone off in the same spot as everyone else here in this race. So yet another retirement. I'm just going to see. This is Ant Wallington coming through the notorious chicane. And yes, Fraser McKenzie went off in exactly the same place. As Rubbernecker was saying there, I think the first accident has dislodged that wall and everyone is being caught out by it. So Fraser McKenzie becomes yet another retirement from his first race at Talk of the Devil. He was running last anyway, so it's not a massive difference on the race order, but he'll be disappointed to retire so early from the race. We're on lap 37, there's 16 laps to go after this one. Stephen leads and he is now in the pits, but how close is this going to be? We saw how close Callum was. How close is that Ferrari going to be to Stephen? Now Stephen's in the pits. Dean should retake the lead, but Callum is only a second and a half behind Dean, so this is going to be tight. Good pit stop by Mercedes. Where is Dean? There's Dean coming through the final corner. Stephen's still not yet hit the speed line. So Dean retakes the lead. How close is Callum going to be? There is the answer. Look at this. They're coming down to turn 2. Don't forget these two are 1 and 2 in the championship. And Callum is just ahead. And Callum, with those brilliant laps I was talking about earlier on, has taken second place now from Stephen. So Dean now leads by a second and a half from Callum, with Stephen right behind him. He will be gutted to see that Ferrari ahead of him. They had such a comfortable lead, pulling away from Callum earlier on. And he will now be gutted to see that Ferrari ahead of him. We saw him in Singapore. He got past Callum 3 times in that race. Can he do it here today? No one else was really able to overtake Callum in Singapore except for Dean right at the end on very, very fresh tyres. What is the straight line speed of that Mercedes going to be like? We're going to get some indication of it here. Callum, he's going to defend his position. He goes instantly to the right hand side. Stephen does have DRS. That Ferrari is very good in a straight line though, isn't it? Callum's really set that car up well. Nice and late on the brakes. He's running a little bit wide, but he'll get away with that. So this is going to be the fight to the end now. We're on lap 38. And Dean has gone from, Stephen has gone from fighting for the lead with his teammate. And I said earlier, didn't I, they are costing each other time as Stephen got very close to that wall then. So he's going to have to watch out for that, especially now in the dirty air of Callum. Oh, and look how close he was there. So nearly nudged the back of the Ferrari, had to back out of it. That will just ruin his momentum onto the pit straight. So Callum might be able to breathe a little bit easier once again, but the DRS will be open on the run down to turn 2. And yes, Stephen got close enough. He's trying to distract Callum. But Callum having none of it. And if anything here, Callum is starting to just eat into the gap to the leader in front. Callum's going to have to stay to the right hand side here. I think Stephen might try and dive up the inside of turn 4. No, he thought better of it. Still very, very close to the back of that Ferrari. How he hasn't hit him a couple of times, I don't know. Down to turn 5. Stephen thinks about it. Callum shuts the door. Stephen tries to go around the outside. This is now the run down to turn 7. Stephen's had a great run out of 5. And there's nothing Callum can do. Stephen retakes second position. And Stephen, well, he was determined. That's not a normal overtake, but another yellow flag in sector 3. Don't tell me someone else has crashed in this chicane. No, it's gone again. I think that was just someone else leading through. Now, Callum does have DRS. We've seen he's pretty good in a straight line. Can he come back and Stephen almost immediately? Down into this chicane. How late is he going to brake? Not quite. Stephen nice and late on the brakes. And holds the position. Callum will be trying to stay where he is until the pit straight. See if he can retake the lead on the pit straight. Poor Gay collapse the pits. And that is the Red Bull out of the race. That is Jack in it. Another newcomer out. So we're down to 11 runners now. He was running last anyway. But we're down to 11 runners now. And, well, I said most of the cars who finish will get points. And that's exactly what happens here. We're down to 11 runners in the field. Yellow flag in sector 1, which I think stopped Callum having a serious attack on Stephen there. So Stephen now has got a nice comfortable gap to Callum of getting close to a second. The Renault, oh my goodness me, that was close. The Renault there tried to got off the track to let the leader through and almost collected the other run all the way through. And there seems to be a problem for Stephen. There is some technical issue for Stephen. He's dropped out of the session as things stand, and Callum is back through. That is such a shame for him. He just worked hard to get past Callum, and now he's having some technical issues and he's falling behind. So is he going to have the pace? Can he get back in first of all? And is he going to have the pace when he gets there to close that gap back down? Which of course, all the while he's not in the session, the car's going to be going slower. Callum's going to be pulling away quicker, and that is going to be so frustrating for him. Meanwhile, Dean has now stretched his lead out to 3 seconds. While those two are fighting, he's driven brilliantly there, and out to 3 seconds now into the lead. So race order, I'll run through the drivers that are still left in the race. Dean now leads by 3.5 seconds from Callum. Stephen, with those technical issues, is 3rd. 4th is Sam. I don't think he'll be stopping again, so he is looking good there in 4th place. Ant Waddington is 5th for Toro Rosso. He's done 28 laps on those tyres. I'm not sure if he can get to the end on those. That's going to be a tall order to do 40 laps on a set of mediums. But who knows? Joe Newman is 6th for Racing Point. Anthony is a brilliant 7th in the Williams, having started a long way down the field. Driven very well, avoided all the incidents that have gone on around him. And he's now on a very fast set of tyres in 7th place and closing on the 2 ahead of him. He's only 11 seconds behind Ant Waddington in 5th place, so look out for him in the closing stages. Jamie Keats is 8th for McLaren. Disappointing race for McLaren. Rubbernecker out of the race. Jamie is 8th, and they started 5th and 6th. Don't forget, they locked out row 3. Dan is 9th for Renault. 10th is Andy in the Haas. He's only 7 seconds clear of Hawkeye. He's on a brand new set of medium tyres and will be coming at him in the last few laps of the race, so that could also be a good fight to watch to the end. At the moment, whoever, I mean, it's almost a poison challenge really, isn't it? Because whoever finishes 11th will be guaranteed 2 points, because the fastest lap outside the top 10 of the driver who finishes gets 2 points, and at the moment there's only one driver outside the top 10 still running in the race, so it could be a fight here as to who drives slow enough to finish 11th here. But anyway, that's for a little bit later on. Dean is driving brilliantly here in this final stage of the race. Definitely a lot more comfortable on those soft tyres than he was in the mediums for the middle stint. He's now 5 seconds clear of Callum. Stevens still with some technical issues. He's dropping back badly. Got to say, look out for Sam in 4th place. He's closing the gap quite quickly. Not sure if he can go to the end. He's only 3 laps younger than Ant. So likewise, Joe Newman as well on the medium tyres. But possibly those 3 should be going to the end. So, but what a race this is from Dean. Driven brilliantly. Stevens always just seemed to have the edge on him in terms of pure pace. But he out-qualified him here today. Took pole position. Stephen 3rd on the grid. And driven brilliantly well against his teammate. How they haven't connected a couple of times, I don't know. But refused to give up on the numerous times that Stephen overtook him. And this is a result, 5-second lead now. Stephen still with some technical issues, but he's still running in 3rd. He's now just 10 seconds clear of Sam, who could yet get a podium here in his first race in the league. Well, he's had the widest Ferrari you've ever seen in your life in this race. Defended very, very hard at times. We saw it against Jamie. And we've seen it against a couple of other drivers here this afternoon. But he's still there. He's in 4th place. And even if he finishes 4th, he'll be very happy with that. Ant Waddington, another stellar drive from him. Keeps himself out of trouble a lot, doesn't he? And he is 5th now, looking at 10 points in this race. And he'll be delighted with that. Joe Newman likewise as well in the Racing Point, bringing home valuable points for them. Don't forget, I said last weekend there was a really intense battle going on here between the cars in the middle, between the teams in the middle of the World Championship for the Constructors' Championship. I'll just quickly remind you of who that was. Racing Point currently are 5th on 92 points. Alfa Romeo are 6th on 81. Williams are 7th on 66. Renault on 48. Toro Rosso 38. Well, at the moment, Anthony Waddington is bringing them back into play here with his 5th place finish. Racing Point strengthening their position at the moment on 5th, with no points for Alfa Romeo. Both Alfa Romeos out of the race. Williams are currently on course for 6 points, which will move them to within 9 of Alfa Romeo. So the whole thing is closing up very, very quickly. And of course, we got Renault on for a couple of points as well. So it is all closing up in that battle for 5th in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren a long way ahead in 4th. Despite having a poorer race here, they're still looking good for 4th in the Constructors. So we're on to the last 10 laps of the race now. Sam is just 3 seconds clear of Stephen. I was very quickly going to see if I can invite Stephen back. Apparently he's having difficulties rejoining. So I'm just going to try and invite him back to the race. And Horgate also back in. He's now half a minute behind Andy. He's also had difficulties joining the race as well. So, but what a race this has been from Dean. It's been a great race. Full stop. A lot of fantastic battles going on. Up and down the order. We've seen him for the lead, for third, in the midfield. It's been absolutely great. And it's not over yet either. Anthony Waddington is fifth, but he's being caught by Joe Newman in sixth in the Racing Point. There he is. And Anthony on those much fresher soft tyres in the Williams. So that could yet still be a battle. As here is Sam taking third place from the unfortunate Stephen. I feel so sorry for Stephen. Technical issues here could be costing him a podium. But of course, don't forget here, Sam's got a lot of penalties. I've seen his name up at least 9 or 10 times on the screen, I would have thought. So, unfortunately, it might not be over yet for Stephen, but, well, I feel so sorry for him. He's in a fantastic battle with Callum, just got past, and then technical issues means he could be not even getting on the podium now. Dean, meanwhile, has now stretched his lead out to 8 seconds. We're on lap 45, 8 laps to go after the one they're on. And Dean, what can you say? He's driven absolutely brilliantly. Amazingly, in this race, only 3 cars have been lapped. That's Horgate in 11th, Andy in 10th, and Dan in 9th. Jamie Keats isn't far away from being lapped in 8th position. But it's just incredible to think that only 3 cars, we saw almost the whole field being lapped in Singapore. But only 3 cars lapped so far. As for the retirements, well, Gareth retired in turn 1 on lap 1. Contact with a Renault is what he told me, so possibly Dan, who qualified down there with him on the grid, but Gareth was out of the race. And then everyone else has retired on those as another penalty for Sam. But I'm pretty sure the rest of the retirements have all retired in that second chicane. It was started by Phil, who's dislodged the barrier and has knocked it more toward the racetrack, and it's caught out Neil, it's caught out Arthur, who was looking very good in the Alfa Romeo. It caught out Devon, it caught out Rubbernecker, Fraser McKenzie, and then last of all Jack in the Red Bull. Terrible race for Red Bull. They both qualified outside the top 10 and they're both out of the race. So they're lucky in a way. McLaren have had a bad day because McLaren can take a big chunk out of the gap to them for third in the Constructors. So, and Jamie Keats has been disqualified. Jamie Keats has been disqualified. I think it's for the corner cutting. I've seen his name up there a lot as well. So Jamie Keats is also now out of the race. We're down to 10. So, well, they've been trialling the strict corner cutting here, and it's claimed its first victim in Jamie Keats. So both McLarens now not going to score points. Rubbernecker retired. Jamie Keats has been disqualified. So that lifts Dan up into 8th place, Andy into 9th for Haas, and 10th for Horgate. So both Renaults in the points. So good result for them. 5 points on the board at the moment. Haas will be pleased as well to get 2 points on the board. They've had a terrible season to get some points on. Penalty for Joe Newman. As Dean starts lap 47. I've got to say, if Jamie's close to getting qualified, then this man must be close to getting disqualified as well. Sam, I've seen his name pop up so many times for a penalty, so he must be very, very close to getting disqualified. He's running third at the moment, half a minute behind his teammate. You would think he would just. Callum as well has had a few penalties in this race. He's second, he's just got another one. But I think if Sam was sensible, he'll just completely make sure he keeps it within the lines. And bring it home for third place. It'd be a great result for Ferrari. Just nibble back some points on Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship, so it's good for them. But lap 47, Dean leads by 11 seconds from Callum, who's half a minute clear of his teammate. He's now 12 seconds clear of Stephen. Ant Waddington an excellent 5th, Joe Newman in 6th, Anthony 7th in the Williams, Dan 8th, Andy 9th for Haas, and 10th for Horgate. Very quickly going to turn to driver of the day. As Joe Newman pits, that's an interesting one. He pits from 6th position very, very late on the race. He's on 33 laps on those tyres. So that does beg the question of, does Anthony Waddington have to pit again? He's on 35 laps on those tyres, so even further. Or can he make them last to the end? But he does only lose 1 spot, Joe Newman. He drops to 7th behind Anthony. Driver of the day is a difficult one here for me today. I'm going to have to, I know I've done this a couple of times, but I'm going to split it, I think. Dean's driven brilliantly. Defended from his teammate magnificently. Got pole position. And has driven a great race. And his pace in this final part of the race has been superb to pull away comfortably from Callum. After only being a second clear of him after his stop, he's now 12 seconds up the road. But the other driver for driver of the day for me is Anthony in the Williams. He started 16th on the grid, has driven an excellent race, had great pace, kept himself out of trouble, and he finishes 6th. So I'm very sorry to confuse everyone, but 2 drivers of the day for me: Dean, Mercedes, Anthony, Williams. Great drives by the pair of them. And good haul of points for Williams as well for Anthony. 8 points for them now. It's looking like lap 48. Dean just coming to the end of it with an ever-extending lead. The other question is here now. We're even still with technical issues. Anthony's taken 10 seconds out of him in 5th position. Can Ant Waddington take 4th? The championship leader in Extreme 1, Anthony Waddington, is 5th here in this race. Had some very, very good results recently, and he's having another one here at the moment, and he looks like he could possibly yet contend with Stephen for 4th. It's going to be close between those two, but that would be a good result as well to snatch 4th place from Mercedes. Don't forget as well, everyone, you can join me here tomorrow, same channel, for the Extreme races. We'll have Extreme 1 followed very quickly by Extreme 2. I believe I'm commentating in both of those races tomorrow. And well, if you think the Talk of the Devil races have been exciting, we've had even better races in a way in Extreme. A lot more accidents, but this has been a brilliant race here today. We're also racing tomorrow in Extreme 1 around Russia. So it'll be, some of the drivers in this race will be racing in there as well. Ant Waddington, of course, is in there. Gareth. Fraser McKenzie's in Extreme 2 tomorrow, I believe, as well. So we're going to have a few of the drivers here today. We'll also be racing tomorrow, so look out for that. Dean starts lap 50. He's on a comfortable nearly over 14 second lead now. So he can just cruise to the flag. Doesn't need to push. He's got no pressure on him at all. And yeah, Anthony Waddington took 5 seconds out of Stephen on that lap. So it's not out of the question yet. There's another penalty for Sam. It's not out of the question yet that Anthony Waddington could yet snatch 4th place right at the end. And also as well, look out for Anthony just behind that. He could also snatch 5th. He's only 6 seconds behind Ant Waddington and just about closing the gap. So very, very eventful race. We saw Callum qualifying on the front row. I think he might have even made contact with his teammate into turn 1, but it spun him round and he had to fight back through the field, which he's done brilliantly. He's got himself up into second place, almost managed to take the lead as Stephen Pitts from force that is going to put Anthony Waddington and Anthony. I don't think he's back in the race. This is automatic here, so that's disappointing for Stephen. Just to rub salt into the wounds here, his AI character Pitts, so that is going to be doubly disappointing for him. So Anthony Waddington takes 4th place, and I think, yes, Anthony takes 5th in the Williams. I think Stephen will probably now finish 6th because Joe Newman's a long way back in 7th place in the racing point, some 40 seconds down the road. So lap 51, Dino Harrison going through his long turn 3, 15-second lead now. And it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He's driving superbly. Has done all race. Drove well in Singapore as well. Just had a couple of incidents with Callum. But overall, has had a couple of excellent races of the two that I've been commentating on. Of the newcomers to the race, we've had a few newcomers here this evening. Well, Arthur we saw have brilliant pace in that Alfa Romeo, but he got caught out by the wall at the chicane. He retired after looking good for a podium as well at one point. Fraser McKenzie as well, also to come to that barrier. He was running in 12th position at the time. And he has come to that, as did the Red Bull of Jack in his first race. Andy, though, is still running. He's in 9th for the Haas. And the other newcomer is Sam, and he's up in 3rd. And also, of course, Anthony Williams is a newcomer as well. He's in 5th. And he is just starting to close that gap down to Ant Waddington now. It's down to 4 seconds, and Dean seems to have problems as well. Callum Pitts on the second to last lap. So I think he might be going for another fastest lap here. That's a very interesting call, but Dean with some problems. With technical issues right at the end, but he is on the second to last lap, so I think he should be okay, especially with Callum having made a stop. Sam is 3rd. Is he stopping? No, he's staying out. So Callum, brand new set of soft tyres. He's going to go for another fastest lap, but just don't ditch it in the wall, Callum. I think he's got fastest lap anyway. No, he doesn't. Stephen has fastest lap. So Callum, wanting to take advantage of this, of Stephen down in 6th position, he wants to take advantage and snatch that extra point to get 19 points, which will mean he'll close 11 points on Stephen in the World Championship. So that could be crucial later on, that one extra point for the fastest lap. Could mean the world in the World Championship. Because if Callum can get that fastest lap, that would cut, if he'll lose 11 points. It's currently 85, it will take it down to 74 points. Still a vast lead. But there will be a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel here for Callum if he can do this. Fastest lap at the moment is a 1:35.6. So that's the mark he'll be aiming for. Dean Pitts as well. I think he has got those technical issues. I don't actually think he would have intended to pit. But he comes out on a worn set of medium tyres. This is going to be close on his final lap because look where Dean is. And we know he's got technical issues, so he's going to be slow. There's Callum. So we could yet be in for a Grand Slam finish here. Both Mercedes with technical issues. Callum has avoided the technical issues. He's second in the race. And I think he might be able to snatch this, you know. Well, what drama at the end of the race. And if Callum can get the fastest lap as well, that would take a massive amount of points out of Stephen. That would take 18 points out of Stephen and take the gap down to 69 points. And yes, Dean with those technical issues. Here comes Callum. Callum takes the lead on the final lap. Can you believe it? Both Mercedes with technical problems in the closing stages. Dean looked well on his way to victory. And Callum takes the lead on the final lap. He's going for the fastest lap as well. And Callum Harrod coming into the final sector. Well, can you believe how this race has finished? It's been drama from start to finish in this race. Cars hitting walls. And now, Mercedes hit technical issues with both drivers. And it means that Callum Harrod comes through. He's coming through the last couple of corners now. And Callum Harrod amazingly wins the Russian Grand Prix and sets fastest lap at the end. He does get full 26 points. How gutted is Dean going to be? He comes home second. Here is Sam in the Ferrari. He completes the podium to finish third. Ant Waddington, what a drive from him. He's fourth. Meanwhile as well, Joe Newman has got past Stephen to inflict extra pain on Mercedes. Joe Newman is up to sixth now. So even more points. That'll be 20 points that Stephen will lose off his World Championship lead. That will cut it to 65 points. And that will seem a lot more hopeful for Callum in his hope of retaining the championship. Ant Waddington will know he'll be on camera. He's weaving down the back straight. He knows that we'll be watching him. He comes into the final corner. Stunning drive from Ant Waddington. He comes home in fourth place, that Toro Rosso. What a drive for him once again. Likewise for Anthony. Brilliant drive as well. He's come home fifth. Joe Newman, he'll be very pleased with this top six finish. The Racing Point. Good solid points for them. Dan, Andy and Jorge have already finished. And there we see Joe Newman coming home seventh. I'm going to see if I can invite what will be a very confused, I reckon, top three to the podium celebration if Dean and Sam are about. So there's Sam invited. I'll see if I can find the others. There's Callum. And then Dean.
Wow, what a clusterfuck that was.
So, anyone who joins you, please make sure you include your audio so the viewers can hear you. Callum, I'm not sure what happened there at the end. Both Mercedes hit technical issues. And you steamed through the middle and took the win.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to sort of talk about, really, because, you know, it's really, really unfortunate for the Mercs. And I'm sure that the result will be reviewed and possibly changed around a little bit, but we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, it was a good race, really. I mean, I fucked it going into turn one.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about turn one there. I mean, I wasn't quite sure who you... It looked like you got very, very close to your teammate there. Was there a bit of contact in turn one that sent you round?
Nah, nothing to do with Sam, to be fair. I just missed my braking point and caught the side of Dean, and there that sent me around. So, but I'm thankful that it didn't send Dean around as well, and you know he was able to carry on with his race, but made my race interesting.
It certainly did. We saw quite a few of your overtakes back through the field. A great straight line speed on that Ferrari, it looked like as well. So you eased past quite a few of those.
Yeah, it's good in the straight line, and I just lacked time around the corners. And I think I showed that in qualifying, really. I mean, my last lap of qualifying, I made sure that I got out last. And I was on my way around purple in sector one, and then noticed that Dean had backed out and gone back in the box, and Steve was still in his box, so I pulled out to make sure that I didn't start on pole so I could get the drag going into turn one, and in the end that was what fucked me up.
It was. It's weird how it works out. I think we've got Sam in here as well. Sam, are you there? Hello. If you can just make sure, Sam, your audio is included on the party chat so the viewers can hear you as well on the Twitch stream. Sam, I think it's your first race for the league. You came home third. You must be pleased with that result.
Not too bad. First 100% race on this game as well, so didn't really know what to expect. Had close race with the Alpha Romeo. I can't remember who it was. Unfortunately, took some damage. It's a bit of a shame. It was just a lonely one from then on.
Yeah, you also got close with Rubbernecker as well earlier on. There was a little bit of, I think, a little bit of contact.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, we interviewed Rubbernecker during the race. I mean, he feels you might have just turned in him a little bit. I didn't really see it. I mean, give us your version of what happened there.
They can't hear you on the stream, mate. You need to go onto your party and make sure that your audio is included.
Who's that, me?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that should be working now.
That's right.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so I'll just ask the first question again, because I don't think they heard you. So, first race in the league, you come home on the podium. You must be pleased with that.
Yeah, pretty happy for my first 100% race. Had some good races with a couple of people. There's a bit of a lonely one after that, but just trying to keep it as clean as possible. And then yeah, bring it home in as best I could.
Yeah, I mean, we interviewed Rubbernecker during the middle of the race. He obviously retired. He was right behind you, but you had a bit of contact with him quite early on in the race. He, from his perspective, he feels you might have turned in him a little bit. I didn't really see it on the screen that much. Give us your version of what happened there.
Yeah, I mean we came into the corner and he went for the undercut going onto the back straight, and then yeah, as I came off the corner on the Astro, I got a bit of oversteer and corrected it, and I think it just caught his front left and sent him spinning. It was, yeah, I'd have to watch the video to double check, but that's what it seemed like.
But either way, great result for you to come home for your first podium. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was a very entertaining race to watch.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And Japan next. You both looking forward to that?
No,
Yeah,
H-band.
Not sure where I'll be, but
Well,
yeah, I'm hoping to be.
All I'll say, Callum, is you said that to me about 17 times last year, and you came home on the podium on every single one of them. So I don't believe that for a second.
I mean, I'll sell shit on every track from now on.
But thank you for joining me, gentlemen. We'll see you both next weekend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. See you later.
And thank you to everyone on Twitch who's been joining me this evening. I've seen some really nice amount of people watching me